couple of red candles at 21,000. We haven't had a Christmas tree retracement or anything rejecting 21,000. We're kind of caught in between the volume weighted average price and that 21,000 point area on the NQ March contract. But I've officially gotten the clearance from the best production team around. Joseph and I will be back, same bat time, same bat channel. Big boys.
Dang.
All right. Welcome, everybody. The program buying started a heck of a lot earlier today than it did yesterday. Like yesterday, everything waited until, what was it, like 3? Let me just double check. Because, like, look at Mara. And what time was this? 3:30 on Mara. I feel like Tesla was maybe a little bit earlier, but today they started in earnest at 1:30. So it is what it is, but that's why this market is ever so resilient. And the best part about it is I was doing a shoot of like talking about some answers or answering some trading related Google queries, and one of them has to do with bull markets and markets being overvalued. Doesn't matter why things go up. It only matters that they do go up at the end of the day. So there's a lot to cover here because you're right back to VWAP. I'm looking at a reversion of VWAP literally right now on Mara. That's why I'm on this chart. Rigetti's up 40% and at the high of the day. Robinhood is at a 52-week high as well, so that bears watching. I know the boys were just talking about that one as a super strong one. And the NASDAQ got back into green territory. Obviously good for the Playmaker poll, which is always,
yes,
out of principle. By the way, I don't know if I said this live. Out of sheer principle, I'm voting short every single day in the Playmaker poll until it actually wins just once. I just want to see a single short for that strategy. But it's working, so it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. The point of the strategy is to get what the people think, and they think one way, so it is that way. We're going to go, so we got out of Apple. We tried shorting again right there. I mean, we had a huge, this trade there to get that out at the bottom of the day at 233.30, like 233.80. I feel like that was just like, I don't know how. Sometimes you pick some of these levels, it's like whatever. But right back up to VWAP. We'll see if it can hold. I'm not going to be holding this one. We had written down Apple. This was yesterday, 235. So we're going to wait to see what happens right now. It looks like 235 coming up a little quicker than we had hoped. But yeah, great market rebound there. Nice to see both the ES and the NASDAQ both up now. We saw that bad PPI print, the good PPI print, but the bad fade off of that. Touch out, boom, down there to the downside. We had the big trade with the futures. We just tried again, actually, at VWAP on the TQQs. So we're going to get into some stuff. Don't worry about that. There it is. Again, like, we got that bottom on both the futures. That's 300 handles, $3 or so, more than $3. What am I talking about? This is 78 short. That's 74. So $3.50 there on the last piece. We tried to get it again here at VWAP and missed. It did break through VWAP, but now we're just kind of hovering right now with the future. So I just put my money into Apple. Let's see if we can go down. We're short right now at 66. That's where we at right here. So a nice little move into the 80s where we're waiting for 85s to get there. We did not. How come we did not get filled there at 85? Oh, because it didn't go there. The highest it went to was 80s or so. So all right, so flat now on Apple, looking lower here as we go. So that's going to be one trade here that I'm going to put on for you. Apple short. Target areas, like we get something at 50. We always like to do a 50 dance. That should be relatively okay. And then after that, down here. I'm not super confident right now in the direction of the market. It was such a battle back right now.
It's wild.
Yeah, to fight the shorts right now.
You know what's interesting? Today is a day where the bad stocks are bad. Like if I look at my quote board, and I'm not trying to pick on them, but I actually don't even know why I still have GME and AMC on my quote board. But those are the two bad stocks. And so many things are, if you look at it from the open, are pretty strong because we've had that big move in. But if I sort it in the other direction, in here, a host of names that did not start that well are looking fantastic. Palantir is back up to 67. Coin, Affirm, like all these names have managed to get back in. Like these were all trend down. Now, some things have fared better than others. It's the ones at VWAP, like with the market at VWAP as well. So the idea being market, NASDAQ, there it is, pressing VWAP. If something is over VWAP and trending, that's not the thing that I would want to short. If something is at or underneath or at a resistance level I like and still working with the trend, then I think taking a shot at it for a pullback makes a little bit of sense. That's why I'm back over into Mara. Part of that has to do with what I saw over in IBIT. So I'm just going to quickly show. Like IBIT broke trend and is above VWAP. Okay, so there's strength up 3%. And Mara breaking trend at just slightly underneath VWAP. After that, a little bit of a parabolic move up. So we break a fresh high. I'm jumping out of this. I do not want to be fighting this past any local tops. If he breaks a local top, I'm going to jump out of that trade. There was one more thing. Well, yeah, Robinhood, just very quickly for everybody. We had mentioned Robinhood was at a 52-week high. It got within 6 cents of that 52-week high. I have 43.83 as a 52-week high on Robinhood, and then pull back. Prior top in here at 43.25. If the market's going to continue to go, that trend up was fantastic. If it starts another upward trend, I want to try and catch the curl on Hood and see if it can't work long into that 52-week high. Obviously not an all-time high.
All right, looks like we're ready to go. So let's go over to the screen and find out what's on the rundown for today.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. So join Joseph and I during the How to Trade show during the midday and get in your votes. But you got to be a subscriber in order to get into the chat and vote. So make sure you're liking and subscribing the video. Let's have a look at the major averages. This is the triple Qs, the NQ now green on the day, up 1/5%, followed by the ES looking to break that 1/3%. It's the Russell and the Dow, though. The Russell up above 1% on the day, with the Dow about 0.5% right now as the NQ continues to print green candles to the high side. The first ticker, though, as decided by you, TSLA. No real big catalyst on this today, but it's green. It's up 1.85. And looks like the Model Y refresh got 50,000 reservations on the first day in China. We'll have to see how it ends up being in Europe and North America once that model is available, boys.
50,000, not bad.
Good number,
so that's,
good number.
49,997 more reservations than Mullen has made vehicles. By my simple math, which is very simple math when the number is 3. And apologies to Mullen if Mullen has done more than that. I have no idea. That was just last we'd heard. But Tesla, let's start top down. Tesla up a couple of points today. It did not hold what I thought was a good chance at a breakout past the 420 level. As you can, I'll get to the 3-minute chart in a quick little second. But there was a fail and a miss. I was not sitting at my desk when we bounced off 402. So that's probably the only, like I was looking longs on Tesla. It was either going to be a breakout over 415 or it was going to be a long off the 400 to 402 area. It bounced off 402, so it is what it is. You get up, you miss an opportunity like that, and now you're at VWAP. But we did take a 420 break. It did not work out. I had a VWAP trade, which ended up being flat because I took some profit and got out, but that was the hit. It could have been, like I said earlier, this could have been green, but I was holding on to a bulk of the position for a bigger move. So yeah, it's a tight stop, but what we've done in the past with Tesla on breaks like this is look for $5 and $10 as opposed to 1 or 2. So if you're looking for 1 or 2 on an even dollar break, you were fine. You probably did just fine. But that's not what I was looking for at all. Just to keep in mind, yes, it's at VWAP and one of those stocks that's underneath some resistance. But remember what happened to this thing at 330. In the back of my mind, if it starts trending at 330 or somewhere in and around that time, probably just want to join it, regardless of what happened. That was pretty relentless. I'm not saying it's going to happen again, but we saw this happen to some degree. At one point, it was like 8 days out of 10 in December, where Tesla would catch a bit of a bid somewhere in the final hour, especially in the final 30 minutes of the session. And when you saw it happen, you just wanted to try to join it. It was just program buying or whatever you wanted to call it, relief rally. So I want to be ready to look for it.
Yeah, the good thing about program buying is we'll be able to see it, so we'll be yelling and screaming if it does go that way. But again, yeah, for me today, pretty choppy. I mean, we did not expect 420 today, but came in anyways. Great trade all the way up there. If you thought the short, great. The only thing we wrote down today were dip buy opportunities. And unfortunately, I mean, you got to be here to take it, so it doesn't really matter. But there it is right there in the 402, 403. Like, those were levels that we liked, but it didn't really even get down to 402. I feel like if you're waiting for that level, you probably would have been waiting a little bit closer to 400. So for me, obviously, we'd like to see this market come back down. We're short Apple, but Yeah, underneath VWAP right now, looks like a short to me. It's just the market is at 21,000. We've pegged this level many, many times as being sort of a concerning spot for us. So yeah, right now you are dancing around. It's been pretty I don't know, eventful at this level today. So let's just see what happens right now. I don't really have a bullish or bearish case right now for the market. So for Apple, we're shorting ahead in front of 235. Maybe we'll get to that. But for right now, I would just wait for Tesla. It's kind of stuck in the middle, right? I mean, you had a 420 high and a 402 bottom, and you're at 410, 411. So yeah, hands off at Tesla, and we'll just wait to see if there's anything else that happens here today. Yeah, for me, no trade until we get back up to like 417, 418, then we'll look to short, but I'm not even sure if that's the right call either. So yeah, great opportunities, man. I mean, Tesla went from 220, 160, 130, all the way up to 480. So it's like, if you're not capturing profits at some of these levels, then yeah, that is what it is.
One Randy-related note on EV.
Sure.
I forgot to mention this because oftentimes I'll get we'll discuss Rivian in the context of what's been happening with Tesla. So like Tesla's had a pretty good bounce. The market's had a pretty good bounce, as you can see. This is bad, right? So almost everything caught a bid that was tanking this morning. Rivian down 1 and 5 and holding it down here. Not good. And this is going into major support here at 1275. So I feel like tomorrow we should be talking about, can we bounce off 1275 on Rivian? And if we can't, pull back into the even dollar. But yeah, it's distinctly different. Some things, I always say like it was an everything program buy just now for the last little bit in the market. When that happens, you want to pay attention to the names that don't go as well as the ones that do. Let's talk about one that was not going for a lot of the day.
Yeah, kind of dead, Neil. Down 1%, defends that $130 level. We're talking about NVIDIA. It's been a tougher look for NVIDIA this week after the Biden administration, the outgoing Biden administration, put new export restrictions on NVIDIA's chips and advanced AI chips. Jensen Huang coming out and saying basically he doesn't like these new sanctions because he feels the chips that the new sanctions cover are already widely in use in gaming and other PC features. So NVIDIA guys down 1% again.
All right, we're still here, man. Let's go. Let's spin it right now for Apple. Apple goes right into P&L number 3 today. We shorted that name against 235. We said we would try to do it. We've done that. We're starting to take a little bit more profit here at VWAP in the 60 area. So nice little trade there for us shorting Apple. Look, we were in trouble there. We got out. No, that's where we started the short, sorry. We got out right there. So again, we talk about this all the time. I mean, some people will talk about it. We'll actually do it right now. And it's just like, go short there, take the hit, add it back, get it back. So it's like, it's kind of a flat trade, but let's see if Apple wants to move down. I don't know. NVDA, I mean, my hunch is yes. NVIDIA today still down at 1%. I mean, this might have been a good short as well, up there at 132. Again, if there's going to be a name that I want to dip by in my own account, it probably will wind up being, for one day, will be NVIDIA. I don't know if we're at those levels yet. I really like that 128. All right, Neil, I got to pass over to you, man. I have too many shares on.
Yeah, I got to go pull up weekly chart. Our chart does not do like all the split adjusting. So when I want to look at some of the major moving averages, you can't. The 200 period on NVIDIA is at $120, and then on the weekly chart, it's at $115 on the weekly. That's a 50 period. So that's the buy zone. I'm buying the dip. I should stink bid. Sometimes I do. This time I actually don't have a stink bid on NVIDIA. I think if we get there on the weekly, that means you've gotten to the 50 period on, sorry, the 200 period on the daily, which does line up at 120. You just can't see it on this chart because if I go back 200 periods, then you get the split. So for today, this one, when I said it wasn't going, I just meant it wasn't going up. Obviously, it was moving today, and it was moving to the downside. This 133 is a bit of a problem. I think as long as you hold underneath 133, then Adara just opened up a Coke or something? I don't know.
No, I laugh at because everything Adara does, Sharif's always like, get it, Adara. So it's like...
All I heard was like a Coke.
So she cracked open her Monster energy drink, and he's like,
oh, it's a Monster.
Get it, Adara.
It's Rockstar.
It's Rockstar, yeah. So anyways, that's what the...
It's a mesmerizing sound, by the way. Anytime you open like one of those beverages, it just kind of gets your attention. I actually flat out don't drink pop anymore unless I'm having a mixed drink. I just keep it real.
All right. Hey, get it, Sharif.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you, my man. All right, guys, Palantir next. Good day for Palantir today. After a bit of a tougher day yesterday, up 2.6% as I see it there on the chart off the highs, but it defends that key high that we had yesterday. Look at the lows and basically compare that to the highs from yesterday. So good technical support there, support and resistance. Cathie Wood, though, and ARK Invest trimming their Palantir again as the Peter Thiel firm tumbles nearly 15% in 2025, regaining, though, some of that today, guys. Palantir up on the day.
Down, 3% up. I mean, this is the life of Palantir, unfortunately, right now, but it's a nice recovery day for them for sure. We actually went over this earlier, and that is that, you know, you do have, first of all, we're getting more and more out of Apple. We now have about 35 to 40% left on that. I mean, here's the daily for Palantir. You know, we talked about this sort of really a bad 2 days here to start the year, right, as profit-taking hits. And there's not much you can do. It does fall right back in. We heard Cathie Wood selling a little bit. We heard some insider sales as well. And, I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, this was it's a 30-year-old company, right? I mean, this is direct listed a couple of years ago. And the people that believe in it, let it run all the way up. I think it's great that Cathie Wood's getting some out now, right? Get rid of some pressure, start buying it back up. I mean, they'll do the analysis. They could sell on Friday, buy on Monday. I mean, this is what they do. So we'll wait to hear about some better news for Palantir. I'm still waiting for $60 to break. I may get some out if it breaks below $60. I don't know. We were getting some out on the way up. We didn't get anything out up here around 77 or 80, but this is like a 7-bagger. So it's all good on PLTR. But at the same time, you know, like, it's like looking at Rivian and being like, wow, it's about to break. Like, I don't know what to do. It's like you got to make decisions when stocks are at levels. So if you don't sell any up here at 80, you know, you got to think about what's your next plan. Anybody can look at a chart and be like, this is looking good. But did you actually buy it or sell it? So right now on Palantir, you want to sell your positions? If you're long on Palantir, I mean, go ahead and do that. I really like the stock. I like everything that it's in. I like the business space for Palantir. So yeah, I mean, I think, you know, dip buy opportunities have been here for it, and I don't think you missed them. I mean, it's still $66. I think you can get that back again. To me, today, the shelf break is right here, right? We're going to have Chris Bretcher back on Thursday. I've invited him back on, so he's going to be with me on the recap show on Thursday. But this right here, 65.70 right there. I mean, this breaks. We have the pre-market lows plus the low of the day. So I'm pretty bearish if we break that level, and you could see this thing either go back to zeros today or hover in and around this 64. So watch out there for a break right now on Palantir, 65.65. I mean, we're nowhere near that. It's $1 lower. So yeah, I mean, pretty good so far here. We're you know, I'm watching this Apple trade because honestly, like, this is what I'm talking about. So I can't just ignore positions when I have them because of the share sizes. So we're going to get out another piece right here at 70 and just start to rethink about our Apple. I don't like the fact that it had just bounced right here off of VWAP without even thinking about going down and testing the 50 period. That was our next spot. So we'll get more and more out. Another piece out right now, under 30% left of Apple. But again, just adding it up, right? The number one P&L name will be TQs, and then it'll be Apple. You know, so that's what that is there. So, and then we also have the biggest loser on board as well. I only have 3 names today. We'll have the 2 biggest winners 100 times, and then DJT will be we'll lose, give or take what happens to this Apple, we'll lose about 1/3 on DJT that we'll wind up making on Apple here. So we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening. But yeah, we'll get to DJT, I assume, at some point. So
this is not a crazy statement, but after February the 3rd, which is when Palantir reports, if they get 2 digits on their forward PE, I think it's going to be a buy. And that's obviously that's absurd because everyone knows that that's a ridiculous forward PE. But forward PE in general doesn't really make a difference. Like triple digits is a lot. That said, it's coming down, and you can pick. It's all well and good to sort of pick bombs. I played that game and sort of decided I want to stop doing it in a name like ARM, which is, again, a relatively expensive one. I think sometimes you just have to say, if you like the stock, then just look for a metric. As long as it doesn't completely crap that metric after earnings, then dollar cost average into it. So I think Palantir could be at 44 or 60 when that happens, or 54. But if that starts to normalize, because it went from like PE 340, forward 140, if they blow it out and that turns into single digits, I think that's a start for some dollar cost averaging. But yeah, I mean, 60 is a good level on PLTR. I think as a day trade, 60 for sure. If we get it this week, you're going to look for some kind of a bid on it. It's very sleepy. I said this morning I wanted to short Palantir at $70 and then was like, we're probably not going to get a chance at it. Well, inside day kind of for Palantir did not really break out the highs, did not break out the lows. Plenty of other names are.
All right, guys, QBTS, one that I was involved in during the How to Trade show during the midday. Jensen Huang really did this entire sector a disservice, basically saying he sees them 20 years away. Mark Zuckerberg going on the Joe Rogan podcast, kind of echoing that sentiment, saying about 15, 20 years away. And that really hurt this group of stocks, getting a bit of a bounce up today. Anyway, QBTS up 25%. B. Riley Securities maintaining their buy on D-Wave Quantum and raising, guys, the price target up to $9.
I'll raise you a price target. Yeah, so look, we bought some Rigetti yesterday at $6. I think it was like 605 or so that we got filled yesterday on our GTI. So, I mean, this is an absolute banger right now, up almost 50%. On the trade, to be honest with you. So Rigetti keeps on going up, upside. Actually, my buddy today, he did the same trade. He got out at 801. So we'll see what happens. I'll probably get out after hours today as well. But Rigetti, straight upside. This was a monster trade yesterday for me. And we didn't trade it at all today. We didn't have the same feels, but we should have because they're off 660. Nice move there. And again, the reason why we went long, Neil, and again, you know, one of those questions that you answered is, are day traders smart? I said no. But right into there, if you're just sitting there picking up some levels, 650 or so coming in right there, the 50-period moving average. If you just stick with what you're doing, you can find some winners. So right there, that's it right there. Sometimes you got to, fortune favors the bold. And if you're able to sit down there yesterday and able to catch that falling knife, I think it was a great trade. I hope some of you join me with that. You always ask us for some of our positions. And that was another one, Rigetti swing trade. I'm out of it at the end of the day. So wherever it goes right now, hopefully it just doesn't tank back in. Maybe I should set a stop order. And if I had one right now, I would probably just use 750. But you know what? To capture some profit up here, check this out, Fabian. I think $8 right there, I think is a decent area to put a stop in. So if you're long with me at 6, grab it at 8 and put that money in your pocket right there. So far, so good, man, on RGTI. We did it again right there today. So congratulations, anybody that tailed that.
Yeah, great look on what, just candidly speaking, I've said this before, I'm not personally in QBTS. It's actually, my wife owns it. It was a play that was made when it was a penny stock. So we are in it. Just very quickly, there's a note on WiseKey here. Shoot, I put it in the chat. I'll have to go there because what happened to my Benzinga? WiseKeys, WiseSat satellite powered by CLXQ next generation post-quantum security successfully launched to orbit by SpaceX today. So WiseKey, there was a big volume spike, both up and down. It's now going sideways. If you're wondering why, that is the reason for it. QBTS, D-Wave did basically the same move at a different price, came right back into a $4 support. I'm just looking at the 50 period here on QBTS. You know, the play that got made, and my wife's like, what should I do with this? We were just like, when it broke the trend, take out enough so that you're playing, you got a double up, and it was weighted like $1.20 something. She added, like, cash the double up, or actually was more than that, and then sort of play with house money. If we get any chance to maybe replay off of a trend reversal, then go into it. But I'm not really, I kind of like the safe nuclear plays, and I want to look to get into some of those in addition to, quantum names. I want to make sure that if I'm picking one, I kind of like IonQ. And I'm not there yet for IonQ. It's the same way I feel about the nuclear. I'd rather be in the one that has a little more something. In IonQ, I want things to break and regain the trend back into the upside, which IonQ hasn't really done. Just say you've made a bottom, but maybe regain the 50 period or maybe even retest down into a bigger support level for myself. And Bitcoin, well, I don't know if it's actually got to 100,000, but it's still in a range. But technically, you have to get to 100,000 to be in that range.
Right.
Oh, no. That's okay. We'll go over here. So Bitcoin about to take in $97,000, guys. 96.9 last time I saw it there. Up nicely on the day. This is IBIT as well, moving up nice. Bitcoin was at 96.5 obviously this morning, defying the $284 million of net ETF outflows that we saw yesterday. Keep an eye on that one. We've been ranging, as Neil said. I think we got into about 89,900 off the bottom there, boys.
Yeah, and okay, so it's not quite 100,000. It's been like 97 hard stop the last little bit in here. And really, since we've made that bounce off of 90,000, which, as we were talking about with Michael Noss last night, was a false break. Like you broke underneath support on that daily. Why do I still have a Fork coin up? Usually I'll have a BTC daily, so it's easier for me to go back and forth. Let's go Coinbase, and there you go. There's your false break of the prior low. But we haven't gotten anywhere near any of the prior highs. And even if we got to 100,000, that's still a lower high, everybody. So ultimately, like you tell me if that looks like sideways trap action or bearish. So bounce off support, take longs off support, and maybe just work trends until we get a test of that 100,000 level. Look, I didn't really trade IBIT today. I didn't really see anything particularly. It just couldn't break the highs. It didn't break the lows. There was just nothing on IBIT. So I ended up trading Mara. And it's nothing bad about it. I actually think it's good that it didn't break the highs lows. Consolidation days are fantastic when you've got a reversal of trend. But I was in Mara off of 18. Prior highs from, today's Tuesday, so that'd be Friday. I failed to break that high. We shorted at 18s. I came back in at 17.30, and that's when the trend came in on Mara. So I shorted off this level where we trailed out, which was 18.30. It broke just like yesterday. Like I didn't reverse. So I don't know if program buying is going to come in at that point. It's silly. So I trade off VWAP, breaks the local high. Now I'm away from this stock. Like if it's going to continue the trend, I don't think this carries the way it did yesterday because it's too early in the day. But if it's going to continue that trend, why not wait for it to get back into the high that matters, which would be that 18 area here on Mara. So up 3%. As we said, IBIT, if you're looking at that all day long, great if you got the bottom, right back into some of those tops, but an inside day, good consolidative day for Bitcoin.
All right, so there we go. Congratulations. Neil's #1 stock today, Mara. We'll say what's up to that. Good trade on Mara. You never know where your money's going to come from. Okay, man, Apple, though. This is the apple of our eye right now, making that move back down. So let's go, Apple. We're now bidding 40s to get a 45-cent winner. It's 40 cents right now in the money. Remember where our stop was? So again, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, this is why the show just keeps on leveling up, because not only do we give you the lessons of the day, this is an actual live lesson of the day, trading here, talking about our stop being worth 15 cents and then giving us this sort of 36, 45, 3-to-1 kind of ratio right there. You know, just an example. I mean, we do this every single day. I prefer, actually, for my style of trading, we used to be very, very much all mega caps, but recently futures, which I think is the #1 P&L symbol for this show probably over the last year. And then also some of those quantum names that have been super hot lately, like a Rigetti. We've really done really well on many of those names. So it's been a good little run lately, especially in the month of January for many of these names and many of the strategies. I mean, it's all about the strategies, right? I mean, they're the things that got to keep on printing. The names are easy to find. You just got to make sure that you find the right levels and just continue to play that game.
Quick question answer.
Google, yeah.
Really good question from Brian Owens here in the chat, which is important because we're a little bit different from you guys as day traders. Can you guys talk about how you pay yourself as a trader? How do you balance growing your account while taking withdrawals for bills in life? I think our community is going to be great to answer that, because a prop trader trading firm's money gets a commission every single month, like usually a month in arrears, right? So, you know, at the end of, what are we in January? At the end of January, at the end of next month in February, you get your January settlement. So you get paid a commission on it. It's not the same in terms of account building if you're a retail trader. But if you are a retail trader, I think it behooves you, when you have profits, you've got bills to pay. You know, if you get consistent profits, make sure you're finding a way to save.
Wow.
Make sure you're protecting your account. All those things matter, but it is different for prop traders because we don't sit there trading our own capital. We're trading the firm's capital.
Oh boy, there it goes, man. I mean, moves down. There goes Apple right now. So as we talk about it, like, there it goes, man. 15. Well, I mean, we're short at 85s. Give ourselves 20 cents worth of risk to make 70. So far, so good here as we watch out for Apple and see if we can get even more of a downside push right now into 234. I mean, we were wondering what was going on right there at the 50 period. We're able to get advantage of that and now make it down to that downside. I'm going to get out another bid. We still have on decent amount, like not as much as we would have liked to have on right now, but we still have on about, I don't know, about maybe 15% or so, maybe 17 or 18%. So let's take another piece out right now as we go. So yeah, keep having the questions come through, man. I mean, I'll handle the trading. Neil can do the questions. We'll both do the questions if we do see anything here. I think like the average trader around here, like if you can make $300 or $400 a month, I think that's great. So I don't know. I'm just seeing what Roger put here. I have no idea right now, but I think that's for trading as an income. I haven't seen a trader around here trade as an income for a long time. It's tough. So I think for me, and I've said this, man, I'm going to stay true on this. I've been saying this for 25 years. You know, the best thing for trading as a living, I don't recommend it for anybody. I think that day trading as a side hustle, as something that, you know, you're trying to throw some money around, maybe you've got some money, maybe you've made some big trades in the past, and now instead of investing, you're looking to put your money to work a little bit. I think that is great. But just take it from me, like, it's very, very tough to make a living trading. And like I said, I don't know if I'll get in trouble or not, but like, honesty is what I'm all about. There's not a trader in a long time that sits here right now, at least that I've seen, able to make money for a living, okay? So I think that's very, very important. And if you don't like it, and I'm too honest, I apologize, okay? But I just wanted people to be realistic about their expectations, about how much you can make trading, and you have to be super consistent in order to even consider this being a living. Like, I'm talking about like 80 to 90% winners if you're going to make this a living. The only people that I know that have made this a living, and I'm not even sure this to be true, I can go ask them right now in the algo room, but that's because, again, they're taking out human emotion, and they're not using their hands, and they have an algo that is a consistent thing, right? And so that's what it is. And yeah, great questions. And I think that's very important that we discuss that.
I have seen a trader absolutely make a living, but he didn't, that wasn't at 80%, but his style of trade was something that you would not necessarily like. So,
but imagine,
you'll know. No, I'm not
one guy.
No, I'm not going. I'm not going to say his name. But this was a trader who had the Pareto principle on another level. So, like 80% of his profits would become in 20% of the trading days. And so for him, I don't know exactly, but I would say he was probably at a 40% win rate. But when he won huge. Now the thing about that is, it was a difficult strategy to sustain. He had a pretty good career, I think almost a full decade of profitability, which is pretty good for a trader. But that was his style, and he knew it well. Like, he would bugger off when there was nothing there, and then, you know, he would go ham when he would have his opportunities. But I can tell you, you know, with certainty, like, some of it is good fortune as to the time that you start trading, maybe lining up with some strategies that work for you, right? I think I know that's a lot of what worked for me. And I'm fortunate for that, because not a lot of people have been able to last long. And ultimately, I feel like if I had started in 08, I would have had a completely different experience. Because some people that started out in the financial crisis, well, you were doomed, because something that worked for like 6 months to a year, and like that was then like an outlier. And if you learned during that, you probably didn't develop anything that was gonna be consistent for you. Oh, okay.
I mean, guys, let's not get twisted. I had 12 and a half years of no negative months. I'm just trying I'm trying to be honest about everybody else that I know. Like, I can talk about myself, but I'm just talking about everybody else. It is, to Neil's point, it is very, very possible. Very rare. I mean, Neil knows one guy in 20 years, right? So let's be and plus you know me, 2 guys. All right, it's Mr. Mendel. How's it going, my guy? Very, very exciting times here in day trading. And have you ever dabbled in day trading?
Well, if I was good at it, you never would have had me at OTC Markets and on the show. So
Exactly.
I'd probably actually be running the show right now. So
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I mean, I've tried to get you over here. You want to come over? You can definitely run the show. I mean, Brendan, he's getting a little old in the tooth and everything like that. So we wouldn't mind that one. All right, look, man, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac continue to be the talk of the town. You and I went back and forth about this a little bit. We've emailed each other. I mean, Bill Ackman really set this thing on fire a couple weeks ago, and it's just been really going ever since we've had the election and some more talk about Fannie and Freddie. And today, Jeff, up 28%. Right now, Fannie and Freddie over 45 million. And you can come over to my screen right now. What a move up there, Jeff. Any comment on this, Fannie or Freddie?
Well, I mean, we've been talking about this for the past couple months, like you were saying, past few months, right? And it's always been kind of like sporadic here and there throughout the past few years. But this is the biggest move that this thing has taken in I don't know how long, right? It's up $1.50 today, 27%. It right now it's fighting right now with $7 right here.
And you're on both the bid and the
There's
ask.
a ton of trading going on. There's already 45 million shares traded in Fannie Mae alone today. That's FNMA. Yeah. Oh yeah. You got the chart up there.
Yeah. It's been great.
I just I'm reading some articles here, and depending on which one you're reading, but it's saying that Pershing Square, right? They could have upwards of between Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac 180 million shares, right? So it's definitely going to be some more to watch on this one.
Yeah, FMCC already another 17 million shares there today. I want to point out to everybody, there's OTCN right there. So there's a lot of talk about back and forth, like it's hard to get filled maybe on the OTC market, but not at all. I mean, not if you're in to some of these liquid names where the spread is literally 1 cent. So lots of opportunities to trade here, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. You also still have a few different things that are available to trade, including LKNCY, another name here, Luckin Coffee. What's that doing? Oh, little barcode action right there on Luckin Coffee today. Just south of 1 million shares. Also, DIY is another name. I'm just going over some names.
Then 10 cent on a little.
Oh yeah, TCEH.
Right, it's been getting hit down a little bit with the some of the announcements that have come out, but up 2% today, up 83 cents. So definitely something to keep an eye on as well too. Not a ton going on this afternoon, but this thing's going to be bouncing around for a little bit too. So we have a bunch of names that are trading over here at OTC markets these days. So definitely fun time to be around.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but just to come in here for you, Jeff, but I do have a funny feeling that some of those names are probably going to continue to see very good volume with the incoming administration, and there's no question about it. So make sure everybody, I think we put the Moon link in the chat, but the other thing that you should pay attention to if you want to look for like liquidity, like if you're curious, like why is like what's running, like just go to the current market page, and then you're able to sort of see where the volume is coming in and where it is consistently. But everything looking good for the big, massive launch that we're expecting with Moon. I know that everyone's excited about the overnight markets. I know a couple of traders that are very, very geared up here, Jeff, to be able to go to the Moon and trade the evening session. The market never sleeps.
Yeah, things are looking good actually. So I think as far as getting the word out there, I'm definitely going to be traveling around a bunch over the next couple months. Globally too, right? So we're gonna go over to Seoul, Hong Kong, maybe Singapore as well too, trying to get the word out. But then also here in the U.S. as well too. We're trying to get some of the bigger retail platforms connected to it, just as well as just the trading community in general, and yourselves as well too, right? For anyone that wants to that's part of Trader TV and everything like that, get you guys connected. Lots of opportunity that's going to continue to happen. That along with OTC overnight as well too, and so you get some of these names like Tencent, DD. Especially I think DD and Luckin because they don't trade locally. Right on over on that side of the world, but they do here, and so by turning around for that session, it gives people an opportunity to kind of jump in and get involved, more hours of the day. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, the ability to play on earnings that happen overnight in Asia, in real time, because we like those earnings moves. But I mean, look, if we're not hooked up on day one, that's not going to be a good look there, Jeff. Got to make sure that we're locked and loaded. I'm just saying, and you can't sleep on coming to Canada. You're going all over to Asia, globally.
He's going to come back here ASAP.
Not the 51st state yet.
Where's that mustache? Let me see. You guys still got that?
Oh, come on. I know.
That never had a chance.
God, it took a month to get there too. And then it took about 3 minutes to get rid of it, and those 3 minutes were amazing. That just wasn't for me, guys. Listen, it's like you try everything once, but you have to live and learn. And so I know that it's just mustaches are not for me. So
the minute you still told us that the significant other didn't want it. I mean, it was at that point it was basically a wrap. So you stuck with it. What made you try that? Just something different? Is that what it was, or
something different?
Okay.
Honestly, I forgot my shaver when I went away for a week, and just it grew from there. And it kept going. I'm like, let's do this. I got the base. So, like I said, you live and you learn. You try new things, and you learn from your mistakes. And I'm not saying it was a mistake, but it just might not be.
Happy accident.
You got to try some.
Might not be for me, guys. Speaking of, so like when I was listening right before I came on, I did not realize that you guys were also psychologists as well too. Especially in the afternoon session here. I love it. So.
That's where we go. Well, we've made the money. The money's been made in the morning show. And look, we talk about it all the time, Jeff, just like you're being real with us about the market. Someone has to tell the truth about day trading, right? I'm going to tell the truth about your website. I know Neil nailed this as well. I just want to show this. There's often a little bit of a situation where, what do we trade? People are like, the scanners. There's lots of different scanners that are available. For me, this is the best scanner for your market. And again, you just go to most active and you can see the number of trades that go through.
I'm sorted by something different.
So yeah, you just got to click up here. You can see the share volume, all that kind of stuff. Do we want to talk about, I don't know, Jeff, I don't know where you want to take this, but there's little symbols beside here, QB, pink, QX, and then this Nintendo has one as well. Is there something to look out for when traders are seeing these?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of it has to do with transparency, right? And so our QX and QB platforms gonna give issuers, right, the companies themselves, the ability to showcase. Not themselves, right? But also,
QX.
Having that on there, right? It means that they meet certain criteria to be on the marketplace, right? So similar to like a NASDAQ listing on capital markets or global markets, right? Or TSX versus TSX Ventures, right? QX is our premier marketplace, the highest standards that we have. QB is our ventures marketplace, right? And then the pink marketplace is it's a place where companies that are reporting, they go in, we put that in there, that pink current information, right? It means that their information is current with all of their filings. Then when you start dropping into the limited, then the expert market, those are where companies go that aren't up to date on their filings or haven't filed, right? And so we like to distinguish that, and so QX and QB. Actually, there's many names that a lot of the names that you'll see right there are names that trade elsewhere in the world, right? On other exchanges.
Yes.
And we work with them, and so OTC.
You say Roche, for example, is on your QX, so a big holding. Yeah.
A lot of Canadian names as well too, right? And so Heineken is another one as well too, right? And so we give those companies the ability to use OTC markets as a way to reach the U.S. investing public, Canadians, right? Right. It's a great platform really for the issuers themselves as well too. It's a totally different side of OTC markets as well too, right? Because we're always talking about trading. But look at just brought up Heineken. It's a global brand. Everyone knows who Heineken is.
No, I was gonna say as if the symbol's Heine. I mean, this is what it is. Of course it is. Yo, throw me a Heine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is great.
Yeah.
I have a new favorite stock, my guy. I'm gonna start trading this right now. But there it is, right there. 50 best QX. So I think that was really a great segment that we just did there, Jeff, because it does highlight the fact that there's some safety nets here with different stocks. Like the QX will have, as you had mentioned, the bigger stocks, the pink. Get those reports. You could see them QB, and then sort sort of the danger zones here with like an MGDDY here, where you can click up, whoopsies, wrong name here. This one, Nestle, for example, on the pink. That makes sense, right? As a very big ADR. And then whatever this is right here, Michelin, I guess, I don't know, but limited information. So you're clearly telling everybody that, hey, this stock, you know, kind of like buyer beware, right?
We have we have a caveat emptor, right? It's basically a skull and crossbones, right? That's out there, and so you know that is like what's thrown on a name when
like
you know there's certain patterns and you know, there's a set of criteria that it takes to get that put on there, right? It can be put on basically any symbol. Right, if we see something that's going on, but you know that's the skull and crossbones. That's probably the buyer beware type.
Well, you should make it easy.
Yeah, but at least you're doing that. No one's putting a skull and crossbones on Haktua coin or anything like. No, I'm just being serious.
And you know, and you know, it's like it's something that we do at OTC Markets that is very unique to what we do. But it is a way to kind of bring transparency and bring you know and bring you know, some type of uniformity in a sense of here's the different things that we bring to the table, and it allows, you know, we just did it just now, right? Went there, looked at the stock screener, or looked at that, and we saw that right on the side of it. So it's a great way for companies and also for investors as well to come in and check out the marketplace.
Yeah, exactly, because it really, reality, like we've just been talking about trading, one of the things for traders is you have to have, if you're going to have any kind of success, you have to have an open mind as to what is going to work for you. And I think sometimes traders are like, well, this is what I want to do. Like I was candid about when I first got profitability was on penny stocks, and that's not what I came there to do, man. I was drawing trend lines on Oracle and AMAT and a couple of other things, but ended up being really good at trading penny stocks. It was a different market back then, but you know, the OTC for some styles of trade is going to be profitable for some traders. And it's about getting information. And I love that transparency because that's all you need. Trading's about getting the right information and then making sure you're not trading blind. And you guys provide a great platform. We look really forward to this launch with Moon. I can tell you there's a few traders obviously here at Real Trading that love the overnight markets and cannot wait for that. So all the best. Jeff Mendel, head of broker-dealer sales, who will be coming back to Toronto for sure. Maybe we can, and the next time we go out to lunch, we'll make sure to be on time when we come back.
No.
Oh, God.
I kid.
That's all the chance. Are you kidding me? The later, the better.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, Neil. What are you trying to do?
Also, guys, so no more McCarthy.
I try to tell you.
Stephen A. Smith is all in on Dion going to Dallas.
I know you mentioned that.
I know there's other people, but we need prime time there. I'm just saying, we need prime time. He might be the only person that can actually coexist because he's already a star. Right.
He knows the environment. Yeah, he knows the environment.
He knows the environment. I think he could do it, but I don't know. We'll see what Jerry has in mind.
I agree with you on that. I just understand he's not going anywhere without his son. So they've got to figure out a way to get his kid, which obviously is going to require like a top pick, which they don't have a draft pick right now that will actually land him. So there's some things that would probably have to happen.
Dak?
There's
not for a first.
Well, there's not for the first that you need, but there's a path to it because look, man, if some quarterbacks, if they can dump like Russell Wilson's been dealt, like they've dumped. I remember when Matt Schaub, like some really bad quarterbacks have had contracts get dumped. Like they can move him, but you're not going to get the pick you need for that.
You're not. I mean, Russell Wilson went for like an 8th round pick.
That's what I'm saying. You can get out of the contract. You can get out of the situation and then make room for a Shador, but it's not. He's not going to get you Sanders. That's the problem.
I know, but listen, stranger things have been done. Eli got to go where he wanted to go. So
that's right.
Come on.
It does happen.
There we go. Right. It does happen. If there's anyone that can pull it off, I don't think it's Jerry.
So remind everybody when we're going to be able to see Moon out in the wild here, Jeff.
Guys, we are coming later this week, so we'll keep you guys in the loop. And, we'll have a few names up there the first day, and then we'll slowly ramp up. But listen, guys, by the next time I'm up there, I'd say February, we're gonna be
full blown,
full bore, all of the listed symbols that we can throw up on there, ETFs, right? We'll be good to go.
I think it's important to earnings season coming through, right?
It's just in time for earnings season. That's perfect, and after inauguration as well.
Oh yeah, after inauguration.
So.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much for coming through again. Sorry we didn't get to you this morning, but we got to you now. So that's Jeff Mendel. Thank you so much. Head of broker deal sales.
Funny enough, I was actually on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange this morning, and I almost did it, but I don't know. Bob Pisani might have tackled me if I was trying to take some of his thunder.
Pisani.
You should.
Hey, man, you should have applied for a job over there. You know what I mean? You want to work with Trader TV Live. You want to work for CNBC or whoever there. But yeah, Jeff Mendel, thank you so much. Enjoy the time, obviously, with the family, and thanks for coming through. And we'll talk about Link when we launch later this week.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks, Jeff.
Moon and not Link. Of course, their gateway is Link there, OTC Link, and it'll be Moon. So again, we are talking about Blue Ocean. We have that trading in the after hours, and Neil had mentioned that, very, very popular here at Day Trade, at Real Trading. And, a lot of people like to make that move. And meanwhile, while that's been happening, we talked about some profits coming through there. There's $1 right now. I mean, we're breaking below right now 234. So we've averaged in to this Apple trade. There it goes to the downside. And we talked about, shorting there, getting out for like that 20-cent hit. And there it comes right now, right back in. So 20-cent hit to 100-cent win. Apple now overtakes the TQQs for my number one trade there today. So I'm glad we picked Apple instead of the futures because it's not moving as much. Apple continues to get kicked, man, all the way to the downside. There it is. There's your official Dollar Club member. So nice move to the downside. Thanks, Jeff, for... I didn't even, that's why I wanted to ask him about all that stuff, about all this, the QB, the pinks, I think that's very, very important. It's probably a glossary or something on here somewhere, but nice to know Jeff explaining. Do you have any questions about any of those symbols?
It's weird because I've seen it before, and for some reason but it is really important. I think there's also rules which I know I found out at one point. Not that you want to, but I found this out with our TFSAs here. We can't. Right. There's restrictions. I wanted to make a trade in a couple of these, and here in Canada, there's some rules, but depending on your account. So a TFSA is kind of like it's like a tax-free savings account. So that particular account, we couldn't do OTC, which somebody should lobby and write some letters over that nonsense.
I tried to buy Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac just a couple of days ago, and then that did it. And then I was like, oh man, I can't put it in my tax-free saving. And then I didn't bother to load it up in the margin account, and now it's freaking hot fire, up another 25% FNMA. But hey, man, you gotta. Sometimes those trades are there, and sometimes they're not. So
yeah, exactly.
We'll find another one. And I mean, we talk about it here. We just talked about how hard it is exactly to make that money and to trade for a living, right? I mean, and there it comes back in right now. So you got to have trades like this, and they're hard to come across. So there's Apple. We got to take advantage when it's there. So a nice little break, hopefully down even further on Apple. Part of it is instinct. I think that's the one thing too. You got to sort of have a feel for the market, and that would be the first thing that I would try to teach anybody that's trying to trade is you got to have a feel for everything. It's just like anything, really. I mean, if you don't have the feel for the sport you're playing, you may not be. And I think sports is a very good analogy to what we do here, except for the harder you train at sports, I feel like the better you can get. I don't think that's necessarily true for trading. So, all right, what's up, Adara?
So I want to let you guys know we have a brand new original Trader TV research graphic out on X. You can check it out right here. Basically, what I wanted to do ahead of earnings season, which we know kicks off in earnest tomorrow morning with the bank earnings, I want to take a look here at some of the revenue growth on a year-over-year basis per quarter for some of these tech names. So because each company kind of has their own financial quarter, we just did winter 2024, spring 2024, summer 2024, and fall 2024. Definitely check out this graphic on X. But I think what's really interesting is a lot of these companies have some of their best year-over-year revenue growth in the first and second quarters of the year. Then it kind of peters out. So we could expect some pretty decent revenue growth. Also, NVIDIA is missing from this chart. That's because I want to do a separate graphic with some of these semiconductors specifically. But either way, we have Apple, Google, Meta, Tesla, Microsoft, and Amazon. Tesla and Apple actually both had year-over-year declines in revenue for spring 2024. So either way, check it out. There will be more graphics in the work as well, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. And also thank you, Adara, for mentioning that Lay's is worth watching on that Wise Key note. As is Wise Key. W Key, it has a tendency to make moves in sympathy. It just broke out the high of the day. Arrows up. Obviously, Lay's is a bit of a repeat offender. Oh, at 3 o'clock. I always get that at 3 o'clock. Twice I have to hit it. So you just broke out, but What is going on? I'm missing 2 days. There we go. Lay's bouncing off of this 3. There is lots of room for a recap back into like the 5 on the daily chart for LAES. And if you just look at this recent gap fill from about $4, 4 into 5, and then this halfway point, of course, at like 440, 445 or so, there's lots of room for this to still continue to go. So it's in the midst of a pullback in the afternoon. I don't like high of the day breaks. I like a stock that pulls back after somebody else has taken the high of the day. So you got a little double top here at 390, as long as it can hold on and doesn't do some kind of a big dump right through that level into VWAP. As long as it holds in around here, 390, 380, look for a continuation play on Lays. Wise key or W key, kind of not moving as much. And Lays is the one that's moving. So thank you, Adara. She pointed that out to me because I was looking at Wise key and it wasn't really going anywhere. And LAES looking very, very solid to the upside. So let's make a bit of a curl here. Have to wait for it to come in. I don't just want to sit on the bid. I want to see it test, bounce, do something like this, like these candles, get a bit of a turn, and then try and catch along. Right? So you try to be a little bit patient. I don't want to be getting in on that first red candle. I actually want to see it pull back a little bit and then round in to another run to the upside here on Lays.
All right, good talk there. Yeah, we're still, I mean, Apple right now, $1.30. Oh, good, we just got to fill at 55 or 56, so $1.30 now in the money with 20 cents worth of risk there for Apple. And you know, there's the proof, like right there. We took that 20-cent hit right there, and then we were going to use 235 as our out. It's still in there, so, but now I guess we might as well cancel our stop order right there, and now there it goes, man. Apple. Again, perfect trade there today as it comes all the way back in. All right, people saying Rigetti short, RGTI right now on Rigetti. Yeah, possibly. I mean, that 880 top, good little level there for RGTI right there to get back in. Yeah, yeah, right now, actually, I may just get out of my position. Rigetti right now, breaking below. We haven't broke below this 50-period moving average. Great call. Who was that right here? Madhav, you have horse sense to steal something from Jim Cramer. Great call on that one. Again, short right now. I'm not sure. There's no timestamp here, but great call, great look, great idea there. I hope you've been watching out for all of those plays. And I hope you've learned a lot from us here as well, maybe potentially about those plays. And there goes Neil again, like, wow. Here we go. Like we just said that it's very, very hard to do this thing, and then we show you trades like this. But at the end of the day, you know, it's about staying on the right names and Apple. So there it goes, man. I mean, we didn't even have it on our sticky note today. We just knew that, oh yes, we did, 235 short. What am I talking about? So there it is right there, 235 short. Stick with your game plan, you know, and if you get it, then you get it, and then forget it, right? I mean, we talked about changing up your game plan every once in a while, and I think that's important. There it is, Apple 235 for the shutdown trade there. And again, man, like, put them to bed, right? That's the number one. Like, we just shorted, like, it's now $1.70 in the money. And still going lower. Look at the futures really falling out of bed right now to that downside. So we go timber as we get lower and lower and lower now, and take another piece out right there on Apple. Neil, many don't think it's possible, but I think we're showing it right there. Apple with, again, probably your reload of the day.
Yeah, you got to have those opportunities out there. You got to be patient for it. Like if it comes in your level and it sets up.
Yeah, you have to.
Well, this is the thing. If it goes to, we talked about this morning, there were plenty of stocks that got to your levels and looked like utter, like I was thinking this about Boeing. Look like crap when it gets there, and there's no reason to be on a bid of Boeing. I'll get to that a little bit later, but Lays is into the level that we want. But as I was saying, where is the bounce? So you know what I'm looking for. The market's bleeding. It doesn't necessarily matter to a small cap stock if the market's going down, but it doesn't help it either. So if it's going to hold up here at about this 380 level, I still need to see the same things before. Just because, well, if you'd gone long off that top, you can get a better price. If you liked it here, you liked it there more. No, it's got to be the right setup. I got to be buying on a little bit of strength, and then you can play into it. I just wanted to go back over to Tesla because the literal opposite of what we saw on yesterday has now happened to Tesla, and it's starting to bleed back down into 402. So this was, and again, this is a very different story from when it came into this level this morning. I think if you're being cautious about this, which you should be, about catching the bid, I'm inclined to think that it could blast through this 402 without catching a little bit of a bid. And I did not hear any news Specifically, Fed Williams is supposed to be talking in 5 minutes, not yet. And I have my Benzinga up. As far as I know, we just lost VWAP and then a bit of an acceleration to the downside. But yeah, Tesla was one of the biggest movers. Bitcoin also making a bit of a pullback as well. Some of the things but this is at VWAP, like it's not nearly as big. It's almost like Tesla was the biggest one. And it feels to me like it was a technical breakdown, and the afternoon buying that we saw yesterday, maybe not coming in. But it's lays that I have on my watch. It's still heading to the downside, so there's no reason to jump on the bid of this one just yet. Let's go to Adara.
Yeah, it really just looks like here the Q's in a little bit of a flat top. As Neil mentioned, Tesla, I think, is also really emblematic of the same kind of pattern, just kind of hitting an area and then breaking down. I'm not seeing any news on this, but as always, if I see anything, I'll let you know. There's also nothing that I can see that shows that Fed's William has begun to speak, so it doesn't seem like an early Fed move either. I have my eyes on all of the various news sources, and we'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all you can do. Like, you never want to make assumptions. Now, you can make an educated guess. Okay, seems like it's technical. NASDAQ was at VWAP. Tesla was at VWAP. AMD was at VWAP. I mean, NVIDIA, all these stocks were at pretty much similar levels. So it could just be something like that. Okay, here's a little bit of a bid coming into Lays. It's still, I'd say, relatively weak tape on LAES. So you can see CLQ, like this is what it looks like at that 80 level. Still a little bit more of a stacked offer, and you're not really churning through bids. A lot of midpoint dark pools coming in. So you're still not seeing a ton of strength in it. No bid support down at that 375 yet, but it's starting to give it a little bit of a turn. The last couple of times that it bounced, you didn't need to have the first green candle. Like this bounce in here, like if you're chasing this move, you're getting 371 off of a 362 bottom. But you could just wait for a little bit of confluence, let's just say, get it better by like 4 or 5 pennies in here and buy that dip. And it's the same thing with the last push. Like you can always just buy the consolidative long a little bit after. JSO, do you mind looking at NMHI? Nature's Miracle, this was a runner from this morning, I believe. I know Derek could probably get the news on it off the top of my head. I'd have to check Benzinga as to what was going on here. What I can tell you is if you false break, if you have an instantaneous false break on a small cap, and then this continuation at VWAP that does not, like it doesn't hold a low, that gap fill, if I wasn't looking at this stock, I don't remember why, but maybe it was on Sharice's radar or something. Oh, I typed in the wrong symbol. That's why it didn't come up. NMHI. If you ever see this, this is sometimes a very good flat bottom break because it's a massive gap fill, and you've probably trapped some longs in multiple spots here. You've got the pre-market longs, you've got the VWAP longs, you've got the low of the day longs, you've got the consolidation longs. So when this breaks down at the end of the day and takes out two, like that's pretty nasty. Yeah, they announced they entered into a purchase agreement with an institutional investor for $30 million.
Ooh.
So, I mean, how small is this company that matters? Well, I mean, it's a penny stock. Well, not a penny stock, it's a $1 stock. So 30 million probably matters a heck of a lot to them. Market cap.
When?
That can't be right. The market cap of this is $3 million. Well, okay, well, that's much smaller than even I anticipated. I think we're going to go up to Adara. I think she has the news story there.
Update here in NMHI. Also, I have some more news coming in here, too. I'll get to NMHI in a second, if that's all right, Neil. Microsoft apparently pausing hiring in the U.S. consulting unit as part of a cost-cutting plan. So we heard Meta cutting costs, MSFT following suit, as reported by CNBC. We also have some comments coming through here from Fed's William saying that they're still concerned here about housing affordability. Nothing huge. Apparently, he's not made any comments as of yet on monetary policy. So Fed's William, nothing crazy as of right now. But again, Microsoft, now the second Mag 7 after Meta, to reportedly be looking into some cost cutting as of right now. Now, as far as NMHI went, we do have Neil correct about the story, basically announcing here that just under $30 million investment. They do have a market cap, from what I'm seeing, of around $3 million, but the float here is even more significant. It's just under 800,000 shares. 18% of it is going to be sold short. That is a very significant short float given the small size of the float there for NMHI. Hope that helps, guys.
All right, there it is right now. Thank you, Adara, for all of that. And Obi's just like, oh man, these shorts are just cash money. I appreciate that. Obi, as we just continue to go to the downside right now, Neil's long lays there, chips with dip. And then right into here, 233.30, 232.64 right now lays. I bet you can't eat just one. But there it is to the downside for Apple. I mean, we've talked about this. Jeff Mendel even said it himself, like, wow, this is like pretty chill here in the afternoon. And yeah, when you've got a plan and you've got it set, it's pretty chill. And that's what we've been doing here today. And sure, Andre, why not do it right now? Are you a skilled trader but lacking capital? Prop firms offer the opportunity to trade with simulated funds, allowing you to showcase your skills. Access account ranges sizing from over $5,000 to $500,000, and you can start with as little as $20. But with over 500 prop firms out there, how do you find out which ones are the best? Where are the best prop firms for you to trade at? Well, that's where Prop Firm Match steps in. Prop Firm Match is your go-to platform for finding and comparing only the most esteemed firms with proven track records and consistent long-term payout histories. That's super important. Access over 4,500 verified reviews, explore payout histories, and discover the best current deals all in one place. Scan the QR code or visit propfirmmatch.com today to find the perfect prop firm for not only you, but for your neighbors, you know, for your pets, all things like that. Because like I said, man, once you get something programmed in, you don't even have to hit the keys, man. Just have your dog or cat hit the keys. No, do not do that. At least then you can blame them for mistakes, right, instead of yourself. But at the end of the day, that's a great idea, man.
I think it's a great, really big
You never know where you're going to wind up.
No. Well, also, too, it's just...
You may like a platform better, too. That's the other thing.
It could be the types of hotkeys they have.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be the access to the API or lack thereof. Like, if you can't program, let's just say.
Exactly.
Like, imagine you don't want to hit keys. Maybe you want click to trade on your charts, and you don't want to be hitting keys like a monkey or like us old heads do. Like, I know some people... Actually, click to trade is technically an old head thing, but some people like to use their mouse. I think it's a little bit clunky. But I just heard something on Microsoft.
Cutting. Yeah, that just came through. I mean, I was like,
Meta was announcing some cost cutting. Microsoft announcing some cost cutting, but the bleed is on. Like I said, the only thing we're into is Lays. It caught a bid, pretty much where we wanted to. Like, it's the only thing that's not dropping like an absolute rock. Want to work it back into the highs. So it's pretty much that simple. I don't want Frex. Let's use BYX.
Yeah, I mean, Obi's back there. I mean, I don't, we won't talk necessarily about what he's trading or anything like that unless he wants me to. But again, only two symbols today. And right now, just because we did talk about Robinhood, Obi, nice little trade there, shorting Robinhood up in here near the 50-period moving average. Nice move to the downside. So again, great trading over on that side with OBI right now. Obi, great trade there, buddy. And actually, as I look here, I mean, he's absolutely killing it. A couple great days there. And like we said, these are the right markets. You find these highs, bring it back in. I really like Robinhood, man. I got to buy this stock. Today up, though, 6%. So many names. Like that DraftKings actually got into, and maybe it's still there. Like at one point, I'm going to have to pull this trigger. I'm not even putting these stink bids in, as Neil's mentioned many times. But that would have been it right there at 36. Like that was a great example. It only went down like 35.90. If you would have gotten that, then you would have been like, oh my gosh. That was a real nice play. It's only up 10% from that level, but yeah, I really like that. Now back up to the 50-period moving average. And like I said, man, I mean, football pools, every sport, basically, the revenues are there and streaming and all this. They want everything. Like Netflix wants it, Amazon wants it, Hulu, Disney, everybody wants live sports. It's also because, content, right? I mean, there's a battle for Netflix, there's a battle for content, but also to the fact that you can also integrate, like you can integrate into like a gambling platform. And I thought Fubo TV might have had something with that as well, where it's like,
they do.
You can, yeah, I've never watched that, but I know Amazon, you could actually, if you're watching something, you can go on and there's sometimes links into purchasing whatever is on the screen. So you can just right away go over to Amazon. So I think that, and I'm talking about DraftKings here, I just think sports and gambling, like the ratings wouldn't be where they are. And these sports wouldn't be getting the money that they're getting if not for gambling and TV rights and what that means to people able to watch the game while they still have money on it. I mean, it was like hundreds of thousands of people were like taking that Dave Portnoy touchdown parlay, which we were able to do well on. So yeah, it's just not his particularly. I really like the touchdown parlays.
Why?
Anytime touchdowns.
What was
I don't know what. I don't even know if he won. I'll have to Google it. But I was on. He must have a deal with somebody because I was on one of the books and they were talking about
100% he's got a Barstool.
Barstool has their own.
It's Barstool.
Yeah, they have their own. So it must have been one of their Instagrams.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out. Let me find out what that Dave Portnoy
100%. Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Parlay was.
Like at the end of the day, like everyone, whether you gamble on sports or you're in fantasy, like,
Well, there's even same
home
day
leagues, same
What do they
day.
call those ones? Yeah.
It's daily fantasy sports.
Daily fantasy sports. Yeah.
You know, like that is a big time business.
2 days.
But one of the other reasons why, and I should have said this when we were talking about that, when we were still talking about the prop firm check, like those types, if you're doing that, you got to make sure you're getting the best odds, right? Like, okay, so is it easy to get my withdrawals? Who's giving the best line when it comes to over-unders? Like, who's giving me the best in-game betting? Well, that matters to you. And so as a trader, it's like who is giving you the best opportunity to express your trades in the way that you want and then be able to profit from them. It's all the same thing. You ultimately, all this stuff, it's going to be hard enough, but if you have the deck stacked against you by not being able to execute in a timely fashion, not being able to get your profit out when you make it, by not being able to have reliable stop orders or reliable quotes, then you have absolutely no chance whatsoever. So quickly on lays, it just got to first stop, which is prior high at 390. And if it can bounce again off the 373, I'll look for reload. What I like about it is, it is a stock that was not at the low of the day when we just had that pushback, and it's still above the morning range, or at least at that morning range tops. This is where it dumped off yesterday, so making those higher lows. But I'm not letting this break this trend back in. If we break this low, I'm jumping out of it. I am eyeballing, oh goodness. All right, here comes QBTS.
Your lays are still in.
Sorry, I should cancel. I did not mention that this QBTS made a bit of a trend break, but it's a head and shoulders play here on QBTS. I was trying to get the breakdown here. When Rigetti was making fresh highs, QBTS was not making fresh highs. And now it's putting in a lower high. So looking for a reversion play, I did kind of miss that little bit of a curl, but I do like this reversion for a head and shoulders on QBTS, at least back into VWAP. And here at Real Trading, if a stock is not easy to borrow, we have to pay for it. QBTS is the quantum name that we haven't had to pay for. We get these ones free on D-Wave for the short. So did you find?
By the way, $2.30 now in the money. We are crushing this Apple right here. Here it is right here. It's only 76,000 people bet it. But everything, Neil, and you'll be happy with this one, except for Cortland Sutton hits. McLaurin got one, I believe. I didn't look up McLaurin.
Yeah, Teddy got one.
Yeah. So the only thing I wasn't sure about was Ladd.
Terry.
Ladd got one.
Sorry, Terry.
Ladd got one. Bateman. Look at this, plus 6,600 right there. So 60 to 1. All these to fill, but he missed because Cortland Sutton didn't get it. We had a three-way parlay that gave us 7 to 1, which I didn't have James Cook. I thought I did.
The good news on that, though, is if you were playing it safe, I feel like Sutton was the one that out of that group, that's the least chalk of those touchdown ones.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Mims
is a run.
Because Mims has been getting the touchdowns on Denver recently. That was a guy I was worried would score against the Bills.
It's too bad because he was dead right about it. Because right here, Mims only had 2 catches for 12 yards. Sutton had 5 for 75. So like he was right on that. That's too bad, man. I wish that would have won. I mean, 75,000 people getting that kind of percentage in there. Great bet. Needless to say, but I guess it's not a great bet because it did not win. Okay, so here we go. Bitcoin still at that level there. We did take out some more Apple. When you go from basically the level that we thought right into the low of the day, like this is the one thing, man. It's like, and again, we talk about how tough it is, and this is how tough it is to day trade. It's because like when this happens, like, I never have on. Sure, when we'll get stopped out, and we'll make some money. Well, now it's fine. You'll lose some money on the stop out, sorry, but it's like known to have held all of this. That's the one point. But at least we're still in it, all the way down there to the downside. DJT, let's just check back on this one. So this is the only loser that I have today. That was bid, boom, boom, right there. So in and out almost as quick as anything. But it does bounce off the 50 period. I'm not sure. Again, this is where we use Esignal. Maybe we'll have to look at a tick replay.
I think it got to 10% down.
Yeah, so right here, now it's down 10. Yeah, so it was probably down 10 in and around, it's probably, yeah, if you were playing SSR, I mean, you got it back up there to 40. So Neil,
I just mean for tomorrow.
Oh, for tomorrow. I mean, it would have been 10% right here too. So that was a nice bump up. So it is short sell restricted right now. You can see by the E right here. So short sell restricted for now is DJT. But as Neil mentioned, that's a really, see, so we talk about like knowing a strategy, like that would be another one. You know, looking for stocks that are down that 10%, either first day or second day, and then playing that SSR bump. Because what SSR means is that if you're going to go short DJT, you have to offer right here. So you cannot just say, I'll sell and then sell to this buyer, unless you're long. But I was talking about getting short. So in order to initiate a short position, you need to sit on the offer. It's in order to prevent just some mass selling. So Kathy Wood just coming in and just selling like hundreds of thousands of shares and just applying so much pressure to this side. She's going to have to sit over here to sell it and get picked up by someone buying into her sale. So that's something to look at, again, for another intraday strategy, as Neil mentioned there. I heard Neil mention also on the trader lessons of the day, you know, level up on styles that are profitable. Don't just like be like, oh, there's an SSR bounce here. Like, you know, I have rockets in my pocket. You don't. You trade it. You see what the action is there. And right now, DJT, I guess, must have got something. But that bottom right there is 38 and change. There was a level that I was like, if it breaks, we're gone. I think it was Palantir. Yeah. So it didn't even think about holding that 65.70. So again, another good trade right there. Unfortunate because you guys know that we're big into Palantir, but there's that break right there. So that was a good trade. Trying to get some pieces back right now. Let's get some more out on Apple and go over to the desk with A.
This part of the show is brought to you by WorkSport. Introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ, WorkSport, ticker WKSP. WorkSport is a US-based manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, WorkSport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP. Discover the future of clean energy with WorkSport.
Thank you, Adair.
Thank you very much, Adair. And thank you to Kyle Burdett for the super chat. Are you not entertained? I hope you are. I know you're going to be for the short side of the trade for short. I saw in the chat, I'm not going to scroll to it. It will take me a hot minute. I saw reflections upon 2020, 2008 and 2000 for corrections. Some people thinking that we could get as big a correction as that. All I will say is, those were generational type of opportunities in the markets. Everyone gets wrapped up on the panic of the moment, but if we get any kind of a down move, like I'm not as young as I was, obviously no one ever is, but you only get so many chances throughout your investing life to buy dips like that. I'm just going to throw it out. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not that bearish on the market overall, but yeah, if you do, that's going to be a buying opportunity like no other. If we see anything resembling 2008, every single time it happens, you're like, didn't buy it.
How nervous are we right now, though?
That's all I think about. I'm not that 2008 levels. I'm not at that point. Right. But I will say this for Canada in particular, there was a stat I saw, and it was like home affordability, like average incomes to average house prices, is worse here than it is in the was in the United States right before the 08 crash.
Okay.
That's a pretty damning statistic.
That's not good
for the Canadian housing market.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the kind of thing that you sit back and you're like, really? And then you, not to get into politics, then you wonder why we're going to have a new government for reasons like that.
Oh, yeah. I don't.
That's a scary thought.
What are you getting into any cash? Like, I'm not really getting into that much cash. I don't.
Well, there's one position in particular that it ended up one of my bigger holdings kind of accidentally. Like, it just, like, I bought Eli Lilly, and I'll be the first person to admit it. Yeah. I bought Eli Lilly because I thought it was a better Alzheimer's play than Biogen. And then one of the other things about it was, well, like, I also get a pipeline into the potentiality of this weight loss stuff everyone's excited about. And then that just happened to hit. So I got like blind lucky on that one, buying it for one drug and then another one blows up. And my intention was to sell again, which I probably will. I wrote a note for myself. Remember, put some bids in for NVIDIA and then figure out where you want to sell some Eli Lilly. And I thought over 800 bucks I was going to sell again. Today was probably the day that I should have just done that. I'm long at like an average price of a 190 something. It's just trimming because I think it's turned into a bearish. Well, I mean, it already had. And I did trim some at like 922, but I haven't sold since. And it's been, how long does that have to hang under the 50 period and the 200 period moving average? Like, I don't want this to break down and I haven't sold again. So I'm probably going to be doing some trimming in this so I can have some cash locked and loaded and sort of ready to go for things like NVIDIA. I think that's one of the first things I'll be looking at for some dip buys. All right, so QBTS, like I said, it reverted this trend, kind of a head and shoulders look back into this top here at 467. DJ Case says Microsoft is headed for 400, or you said sub 400. MSFT. Yeah, there's a lot of bleeding. This one I don't love as much. Microsoft. It's never got going. I don't know. These guys never got going. I feel like they could be one of the weaker ones. And yeah, you're about to retest this 390. Yeah, I think I would tend to agree with that. This is not one that I'm as eager to dip buy. Microsoft's a great company, and it's the only one back in the Four Horsemen days that was a top 10 market cap, that was a top 10 market cap 20 years later. But can you do that three cycles in a row? I don't know of any names that pull that off in tech. Yeah, I don't know. Microsoft doesn't look that good to me. Meta looks better. Google looks better.
Yeah. I mean, I like Microsoft. We'll have to wait to see what winds up happening. I haven't really trimmed any of those positions. I'm in about, like in my swing account, I'm in probably 15% cash or so. And then in my long term, pretty much, I mean, I have a big deposit. I have to deposit something for like our 401k or RSP. So I still got to do that. And that will obviously go in as cash. So we'll have something in there. But all right, so NASDAQ right now trying to bottom out. We already talked about the levels that we liked. Not only was the NASDAQ at 21,000, I mean, we had hit that level for a while and talking about how much we like that. So there's the short giving that to you as well right there, 25,000 and change right there. So a good little level for anybody interested there in the NASDAQ or in what potentially could come from some of these downside plays one more time. But yeah, we're in Apple now. It's the only position that we have. And it's $2 in the money, and we're pretty happy with it, and it's trading really well. So yeah, Apple right now, the apple of this guy's eye as we continue to watch out for, again, some more strength potentially in the market bouncing off right now of these lows. I mean, if we open up, this is why I'm thinking potentially some strength. I mean, we had come down into here, but you know what? Like the one thing that I learned, and Neil mentioned this a little bit as well, is like, for me, the thing that I've done differently and what I used to do is it almost, if it's a level that you've done the work on like we have, then I almost don't really care what it looks like when it comes up to it. And this is something that's changed for me mentally. I'm taking the trade. There's been too many times where we've written things down and we've looked back and be like, well, that was the top, or oops, we didn't take that. I mean, the same thing is true here when you're going to look at, again, the number one P&L name for me is Apple, but the futures were an absolutely banger there right here. And it's like, right off the open on PPI, you're not going to take it. But then once it gives you that level, and we wrote this down as well, once it gives you these levels, then I took it. And we have a stop. So if it goes, obviously, I could remove all these. Obviously, right here, does it look like it's a smart move to take the future short here as it's ripping up? No, but not only that, we took it there and took it there. It's like what we said there, and I'm copying this from Kramer, but it's that horse sense. It's like it comes in, you've got the feeling that it's going to the downside, so you take your level. And so that right there, just like Apple, right? I mean, it's the same thing here. If you don't have that sort of trader instinct, right, then you don't really have anything. Like right into there, here comes Apple just ripping up. We shorted it there underneath VWAP. We got out. I feel like that is where VWAP was maybe at the time. And then all of a sudden makes that move up. We check notes, 235. So we took it without being sort of afraid of the position because we had the out. And then there it goes, pay dirt. Like, so, sometimes you take the trades against you and you just have to have your stops so that you do not get blown out and obviously live to see another day, which we're all trying to do every day here live at Trader TV. So, all right.
Before we go to Derek,
go.
if the tap on WNW is correct, this might not live to see another day. We're going to go to Derek, I think maybe for this story. It's halted at 225. The tap is 39 cents right now.
Ooh.
My guess is if it's that extreme, you're probably not opening up in 5 minutes. Usually when it's that big, they hold it for 10 minutes. But let's go to Adair.
Why can't I offer?
There's actually no story that I'm seeing here for WNW. I said to Neil in our own company chat, they tend to have these random parabolic moves with zero context, zero news. They're a Chinese ADR, which I think is worth noting here. I was seeing some people on social media saying they did a stock offering. There is zero evidence of that I've seen. That was one person that said that. So it looks like this is just a random halt. It's worth noting they have definitely had some reverse splits. The most recent one I could find was a 1 for 35 reverse split back in December of 2023, but they definitely have reverse split. I'm seeing a couple different percentages with regards to their market cap or their short float, but here on TradingView, it's telling me 76% short float on a float of 213,000 shares. On FinViz, I have closer to a 200 million share float. So what I'm trying to say is it's really hard to find information on this company. Be very careful, guys, with WNW. Only 8 million shares traded on the day.
Well, I can tell you with 100% certainty, I have never seen a stock that had a chart like this and like a halted downside with a theoretical auction price underneath its 52. Like this, obviously it's a reverse split. I'm cheating. Okay, let's do this.
People aren't going to believe these
cheating
names.
But like this is 72 cents in here since the last split pump and dump. Usually, you never tap underneath something like that. So it just pumped up to like 47. If it's going to open, it will be, if it's going to open in 5 minutes, then the open's happening, that's 10 seconds. And if this opens in the penny range, I'll probably try to take an uphold. Like if it opens that far down, and it's like right now saying 50 cents, I don't know, man. It doesn't have to move very far to go into an uphold if it's a penny stock. So I might take a quick shot at this, see if we can risk like 5-10 cents. But that's on the off chance that it were to open in 5 minutes, which, as I said, I thought was unlikely. And there you go, it's not going to open because it would have opened 10 seconds ago. 10-minute halt, I think, is going to be in play for this one. I'm going to leave it up there. Like I said, I've never seen that before, and I'd be very, very surprised if it wasn't some kind of an opportunity to trade for us. So Qubits, which is D-Wave, I just call it Qubits. We had our short entry, did the reversion trade, we're in, could have scalped it 1-to-1. My bids were down at 450, but it just took out that 465. So trying to keep it small and then work on to the next opportunity, which all of a sudden, I mean, like I said, I've never seen anything like that before on that WNW. So this is going to have my attention. Hopefully, we're actually going to open back up here. Now indicating 70 cents. So I think the reason why you have 5-minute and 10-minute halts is particularly for situations like this. When there's not enough liquidity for a reasonable open, which clearly there isn't, too many people dumping. You can even look at the book right now and see that there's just, let me go this way. You can look into this book, WNW. Like this is what the book looks like in the halt. Like lots of sellers and pretty much no buyers. So until they find enough or 10 minutes comes in, we're just gonna have to wait for this bad boy. Yeah, it could be wild. But that said, unless I find something that's like entry on a halt with a limit on open or a market on open on the reopen or some kind of a 5 to 10 cent risk trade, then I'm not going to take a shot at this, especially in the afternoon. Try to keep it tight to the vest in the afternoon trade. But this one is a good risk to reward if it opens under $1.
Okay. Yeah, just like this is what you guys. I mean, I hope we're helping you guys understand some of the nuances of the stock market. We had a really fun thing today. I think it was what was it called? Ask a question or something. Our most popular questions, frequently asked questions on YouTube, on Google. That was a lot of fun there. So hopefully we'll get some of those questions to come through. I was looking at this XTIA. Our chart's going to look ridiculous. I understand that, but it just split 250 to 1. And this is what happens, right? Boom, up to $60, boom, all the way back down again. So this is just some of those actions when, you never have an idea of maybe what's going on with some of these Chinese names. I mean, a good example there. XTIA, by the way, is XTI Aerospace. I actually don't know if it's a Chinese name or not. It was more that XXXI name that was going crazy there.
XTI is American. I think it's the other one.
Yeah, there's a bunch. But anyway, this name here, I can show you on the Esignal chart here. I could zoom in, but there's a split, 250 for 1 right there. And again, a lot of these names will do that split because they have to stay above $1 to make, and it's really a stupid rule. They need to get rid of it because there's so many ways around it. Like, who cares if you need to stay above $1 or not? If you can just reverse split all the time and get that play up to 60 and just to get hit back down into $5 again. I mean, the amount of money being made on these things by, I guess, hedge funds, whatever, that can hold these overnight, absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is what I said, man. One of the questions was the stock market rigged? I've stayed true to it being yes ever since we started this show 5-6 years ago. I feel like it's one of the most rigged markets in the world as we go here, even much more so than sports betting. But here's TIA and the rest of them. So just be careful here as we come back in on this name. And then many other ones are not open yet. Are you on?
No, it should be.
Joby, there
it should be 1 minute. It should be open up in 1 minute. It's now indicating a tap of 80 cents, which is marginally better. But these lows are 73, 74. I can provide a different type of opportunity, which would be this is a 73-cent low. If it opens up all the way down here, now it's saying 82 cents. It really could actually open on these bottoms, which could give you
a problem with order
with
canceling right now. I don't know if it's
okay,
on all
so,
gateways or what. Try to see if I get a fill here on Apple.
Yeah, I had a stop order that hold on a second.
Yeah, okay, I just got a fill. So the fills are working, it seems like. It might be the order canceling that is a problem. As we're almost out, so I'm not panicking about this. We didn't
that's good to know. You wouldn't want to be in this stock.
No, we didn't have too many shares there on Apple, just a couple hundred shares. But again, we have a little bit left. We'll see what winds up happening.
I was just able to cancel some Toronto stuff.
I just think someone in our chat, on our intra-web chat there, internal real trading chat, is saying that there was problems
which I should have had of
orders. So there may be or not. So anyways, that's what we're doing right now. Apple still continues to get to that downside. I'm just going to ask these guys because I do have a pending Apple bid. I just want to see
we should be open now
if it got filled. So go over to Neil's screen because I'm just going to try to see if I can get a hold of somebody just to make sure I don't punch in and out of too many.
It's indicating a buck. It's been 10 minutes. All right, maybe they're just not going to open this stock. Is that what's happening here? So, yeah, look, maybe they're not going to open this thing. They're indicating $1 open. It was like 34 cents. All of a sudden, the open's indicating $1 open, so it is getting a little bit better. Okay, well, it's now 11. It's almost 11 minutes. So my guess is, let me just double check. I should have done this. I made the assumption that this was all just volatility. It could actually have been a different type of halt. No, it's a volatility halt. So quote resumption. Yeah, I mean, it's a volatility halt, so it should have been 5 or 10 minutes. I've seen this happen, I don't know, like 1 out of 100 times. Funware was an example of it. It could just be one of these circumstances where they're just not going to open it up because there's no liquidity and they don't want people to get rinsed, which doesn't really help anybody that's already caught long. So this might end up being a bit of a nothing burger. I'm going to leave it up on the side just on the off chance, and I don't want to miss out. I was kind of hoping it would open up underneath the $1, but if it's going to open at $1, that's like 40% away from that prior low, which is a much different trade from, hey, it opens up at like 80 cents and that low is 73 cents. So it's not a guarantee that we take any shots on it. I'm going to go back over to maybe and look back at that Lay's stock because ultimately we got some at 1-to-1 and then it broke down, but it's holding sideways. So there's a chance it could still round the bottom and maybe take out some of those highs, but it is 3:30, getting a little bit long, late in the session here. Early looks are a nothing burger. So for now, we've got RY, Canadian banks. If you ever see a Canadian bank on the New York early look imbalance or on the imbalance in general, take it with a grain of salt. It usually amounts to absolutely nothing. So nothing really standing out here on the early look. I mean, Nike and Uber are both buys. So that might be something to watch out for. Uber has been holding up pretty well lately. So I think if that actually were to come out of buy, that could be something. But 600,000, Uber's done 15 million shares. Like none of those are going to move the needle. It's all relatively speaking. Actually, Uber in that 50 period is not closing above it. This is another stock. I wanted to see it close back above the 50 or the 200 period moving average, and I'm still waiting for that to happen on Uber. Good balance in that it's held above that 60 level, but a bit of a nothing burger. They might not open WNW. It just might never happen.
Yeah, might not. Normally you're open for one last print there.
Usually you do.
Could be something there. All right, so there it is, man. Apple will take another fill at 233. So again, a $2 winner. Good trade. Let's just keep on waiting to see what's going on. Does anybody? All right, someone said there, what's going on with the Tesla, and maybe into something for next week. So let's have a quick look, or into this week. Let's see. Let's look and put on our thinking hat a little bit. Oh boy. Did we ever talk about that short off VWAP? But like I said, man, fortune favors the bold. We didn't have it. We have Apple instead. This one would have been pretty sweet to have this from 244, like as if. What has happened with Tesla there? Huge move down, 412 down to 396. Like absolutely getting tuned up right now to that downside is Tesla. Wow. And they talked about VWAP there earlier today. I've already talked about it being by far the most important indicator that I ever use. There it goes right there, right off VWAP. Gave you a smooth $16, $17. So we'll wait to see. Okay, we will be talking about Esignal in a couple seconds, but it's Apple right now, still continues to that downside. Tesla's really falling out of bed for sure. Did Google most likely broke 190? Yes, as well. Wow, so a lot of negativity really hitting the market right now. I mean, it's been a while before since we've seen sort of that, like just all of the names. We saw with some cost cutting there on Microsoft. We saw some cost cutting, by the way, of employees in Meta today as well. So a lot of this has sort of sparked some of these moves down. And it's going to be like a little bit of like, I don't know, shock a little bit when you look, because like 3% on a $600 name, right? I mean, you're going to be down there again about 20
you
bucks
don't get too
here
many of those
right now into those levels. I'm assuming that Palantir call that we had as well. Yeah, right now, just bouncing off that level again. So look, I mean, we'll stay here. We're right in the pocket. You know, we've made more, we've hit our goals today. Everything is good. And I mean, you can always ask us, you know, like, again, we don't talk about nets, but to that point of, are we up or down today? You know, that could be something that we could always talk about as well, right? And so just to let you guys know, those kind of questions, any questions you have in the chat, or even specific stocks, even more particularly, like if we talked about an idea like LAES, I see you're out of it. If you're like, oh, I missed the play, you can ask about it, because I know some of you guys come in and come out of the show all the time. So you can always ask us what some of our big stocks are. Okay, here we go. It is Esignal time. So strategize, analyze, capitalize. Analyze, did I get that in the right order? With Esignal, make sure you do hit those scanners, those screeners, all of that, because again, if you just have a simple VWAP scanner, you would have hit this Apple trade with me. Also, we could have had the TQQs as well. Over 50 plus brokers connected right to your trading platform. We're lucky here as well, because our charts are completely connected to the platform that we trade on. I feel like that's a huge advantage as well. So get connected up with your broker, especially if they don't have excellent data points, right? And so these guys do. All of the markets you need. Like your platform doesn't have OTC markets, they do. We just talked about that with Jeff. Take advantage of what's around, right? Moon ATS as well, Blue Ocean, all of that. Find out right now with Esignal. Scan that, trade smarter, not harder. And those are the charts that often you'll see me throw down on the screen. So yeah, we really, really like them. You know, for me anyways, Esignal, I've been using it ever since we started trading. So 20 plus years there. I really like the program, and it's been a profitable.
And there was just an example, a big shout out for Esignal, because when we had our own floor, there was a particular strategy. We used to trade the European markets, and the back testing, and then even like the forward testing and a lot of the execution, a lot of that was made possible through Esignal. And it was a strategy that pretty much, there was a point where almost everyone on our floor was trading this strategy. And it was doing really, really well for us. And you needed a very good and robust platform to be able to back test. It involved like tons of symbols and some technical stuff around Bollinger Bands and some of that fun stuff. That would be really hard to do if you didn't have a really good charting platform. So shout out to Esignal. Scan that QR code for sure. I'm now getting more and more convinced they're not going to open this sucker, because it's now almost 20 minutes. And if it gets to like 350, obviously, that's the WNW is probably not going to open until the aftermarket or maybe even tomorrow. But the early look hasn't changed. I was asked what's going on in the early look. Still nothing. Like, you've got RY. You now have Nike at 700,000. That's not going to move the net needle. Snapchat is a sell. Those could be worth looking at here. But obviously, unless you're millions of shares, like Snapchat's a $15 stock or a $12 stock, I should say, yuck. When you're that cheap, Like, it needs to be massive. Snap would have to be huge. I'd be more inclined to think maybe Nike could turn into something here, especially on a day like today, where I would suspect when you get a market move like this, and a lot of things have caught some strays, when you get imbalances start to come out and shock this, the reason imbalances get put in is so they can get offset and have less volatility. So the reversions that you will see at 355 when some of these get paired off can be really good. And that'd be the perfect kind of day for that. So when I see Nike as a buy imbalance and we're at the lows, well, if that were to spike it up back into resistance at 71, VWAP at 71, and then at 55, we get a pair-off event, that's the kind of trade I'd look for on Nike. I don't care that it's a buy and balance. I'm just looking for what you could do at 355. Now, it has to set up. Obviously, we have some time before we get there. Kyle Burdett, should you cover? I'm not here to tell you should cover because there's a buy and balance of 700,000 on Nike. I'm just simply saying is if that buy and balance were to push it up, and then at 355, it's near $71 for a reversion trade when balances usually pair off, I would want to fade that buy and balance at like 354 or something, and then just put a stop through VWAP. That's all I'm talking about. Whether or not you want to get out just because there's a buy and balance, that's up to you. You're riding something at the low of the day. I don't know why. If it's at the low of the day, maybe you're covering because it's at support from August. Like it's at the August lows. That's a reason to be covering because it's at a major support level. Oh, yucks. Nike doesn't look very good. Kyle Burdett, flat bottom break alert on Nike. I haven't looked at this daily chart in a hot minute, but $69.50. If you're going to tell me that the August Black Monday bottom, like some people call it Black Monday, I don't really, I'm not sure if he uses that term. Obviously, it's not as bad as that. But that day was epic, and anything that loses that support is a tradable level because a lot of major bottoms got made on that day, and Nike has been downward trending since, so a loss of $69.50, it looks like, would be really nasty tomorrow. Coffee Trader says ARM is strong. Of course it is. Because if I'm stink bidding a stock, it doesn't want to ever go down. I'm just waiting for ARM to be at or underneath $100. Gimme, 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 gimme. It just doesn't happen. So the new plan is dollar cost average every quarter as long as the earnings aren't a complete crap fest. Because otherwise, I'm not going to get into it.
Okay, this means a lot to me, Marty. Because we're showing, like I've been showing you guys, this is just a strategy, one of many, hopefully, that we're able to talk to you about. And that's why I said, guys, like someone in there asked us, like, how many risk units are we up or down? The better question is just ask if you're green or red on the day. Because, like, everybody has completely different ideas of what a risk unit is. So I put in there, I'm 1.5 daily goal right now. So that's what we're doing there. And I'm green. You can, again, put it in there and whatever. But been scalping the imbalance mechanics, and Sean went through it last week and having good luck on it. Thanks for that one. I mean, you're welcome. That's why I'm here to explain that. We've taken many different imbalance trades and been really successful on them as of recently, including that Palantir trade, including new holdings. You were in and out of something the other day. I don't think it worked, but it was still a good idea there with Instacart.
No, so Instacart, just to double up, Instacart that day didn't come out as an imbalance. Right. I punched the you-know-what out of it.
But just as a strategy, like you were in there for that, and then it didn't.
And it might show up again today. Yeah. Because it's actually, Instacart's on our, let me just double check.
But I think
today's the 14th. Yeah, Instacart's there as an addition again. So it might show.
So just to the point of all strategies, whether or not it's in balance or not, like you have to understand what Neil said there. Like he was in it for a plan, and then plan didn't happen. So then you punch out. So I think it's almost the exact same. Like, look, sure, we're $2.25 in the money. We win again. That's wrong. But we lose, and it's like you could lose. It's not. This is why I say to you, and I think the next time we have Obi on, he'll agree with me about position sizing, how that's by far the most important thing. Because, like, we can all have these trades, but if this is an L, this is an L, this is an L, and I'm oversized, then I'll probably get shut down. Like, if you have 3 or 4 losses in a row and you have too many shares, then that would be bad. So it's about being able to understand how much to hold for what kind of moves. Because look, man, we can all sit here and we don't trade huge amount of shares. And there's, we're not trying to talk like, big whale here or anything like that. It's just like when you're in position, you have to deal with that position. And that's why about that question about risk units, it's like, you know, everybody's got to have their own little thing. And, you know, for me, this is why I try to make it as clear and clean as possible. Today, we have 3 trades. We have Apple short, which is right here. We have TQQ short, which is right here. And then there's the quick loss. Should have stayed in it. What are you going to do, right? That's part of what I'm talking about. You're not going to have everything. We went over to Apple because of this break. But there's the move down. So that's a W, and then there's an L. So you'd rather have this W than that L, right? But again, if I have 1,000 shares here, but 10,000 shares here, we could still be red on the stock. You know, so that's why I'm saying, like, understand the positions, understand the importance of what you're doing, and then hopefully, you know, all together we'll be in the same spot and be able to manage risk appropriately. Like, that would have been, whoa. The fact that we were short right there, again, in and out real quick, trying to probably take 20, 30 cents of a hit on that one. But yeah, that's why, again, look at this hit, 20, 30 cents. That's why when it comes in, we start taking out like half of it for that 20 or 30 cents. So that when we have a loss, it's like this. And you look down, and to all of our points right now, and I know it's different, right? Different days will have different strategies, but we always talk about you don't want your biggest loser to be more than, and it will happen some days, you know, where your biggest loser will be more of a P&L than your biggest winner. It happens to me all the time. It's happening to traders today. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to look back, and as someone asked us before, like, when do you get paid or how do you manage it?
Yeah,
it's like you want to be able to look at it and say, like, you know what, over the month, and we can download this, you can all download your P&Ls, right, and download your trade lists, and you just scan through and say, look, month over month, I've never been up on Apple, never been up on Tesla, never been, like, so it's like, okay, but I am up on Google, I am up on this, I am up on that. And it's like about putting them together and figuring it all out, because some stocks will trade real nice and some will not. And so that's part of it, understanding the yin and the yang of the stock market, which is why I told you, like, it's very, very difficult to sit here and, you know, build a, you know, a very consistent strategy that will get you paid month over month, which is why I will always talk about this as not necessarily being the greatest profession. You never want to be in a profession that has a 95% losing rate. You don't want that to be your profession of choice.
Well, it's a sports analogy.
Yeah. So,
how many, I don't know how many NBA players there are, but.
Right. It would be ridiculous to say you're going to become a professional NBA player.
12, and then
Perfect
they got traveling squads, so like 15, let's just call it 15 players any given time, 30 teams, so 450, maybe some D-League. Just call it 500 players, 500 NBA players at any given time. Maybe there's more, maybe there's less. In baseball, 42-man rosters and 31 teams, like 1,300 maximum players. You know, and I know a dude who went to AAA and tore out his ACL like this close to getting to the show. He never made it to the major leagues. I should have fielded him in a men's league. The guy did things that were unbelievable. But that just shows you, like, he's literally the most talented baseball player I've ever sat next to in my life. And he was a stone's throw away from making it to the big league. He just couldn't make it. And that's how hard it can be. So first of all, there's a super chat I want to get to. The tap on WNW was it looked like it was going to open under $1. I wanted it to open up under $1 so we could have a stop to 70 cents, which was the 52-week low. It opened up at like $1.75. It was nowhere near the indicated open. So it opened up way, way up here compared to where we wanted, and now is halted down. So I think this one, kind of a missed opportunity. I will say the day that, when you get these multiple halts down, I just get memories of when GameStop and Cost did the same thing in 2020. And that day was a really, really good trade on the first up halt, because it was very binary. Like, it opened up, didn't break the low. Like, it basically opened after one of these. It just opened higher, halted up. You just took the halt price and went market on open for a gap trade. You don't get opportunities like that very often. A stock halting down, going down 50%. Doesn't happen every day. But thank you, Jackson.
Wouldn't that be amazing if it did?
If this happened every day for a stock, like, it's
find them,
because that's the kind of trade you only needed to work one time out of 3. If you catch the bottom, heck, you could work one time out of 5 and you'd be fine. Because usually you're getting a ridiculous risk to reward that's only possible when it moves like this. Thank you very much for the super chat there, Jackson McBride. I don't know if you're related to Trey, awesome tight end. Wish I had him in our league.
That'd be great.
$33 super chat. Are you a Larry Bird fan? Why the 33? That's an interesting number. Appreciate you. But what do we know about Weemy? So one of the things I always say is, if I've ever looked at a stock, like maybe it was on our watch list, or maybe we've traded it before, I'll say, yeah, I've looked at it this morning and this is what I see. And I can maybe rattle off some levels because it was on my iPad or I looked at it today. This one, nope. I have not looked at it. I know it's up 19% because I pulled it up just now and saw that. What I can tell you is repeat offender syndrome for WEME. The good news is somehow, if you scale back, it's actually somehow making higher lows. What's more interesting to me, however, is the 50 period holds the dollar. This is what I like about it. We talk about stocks at $1 in the bad sense. This just rejected, looked very bearish, and held on to $1 yesterday really nicely. So you're getting a continuation play off of $1. So it's like the same higher high, higher low principle. I used to trade these kinds of things back in the day on the way to $1. They were usually a little bit better. But the dollar hold and the higher low, yeah, this is not bad for a continuation play. Volume kind of stinks, though. That's the problem. If it were better volume, I would like this for a continuation long tomorrow. W&W just opened and is probably going to halt down again. Oh, no, it isn't up. Nope, never mind. It just went to a false halt. It might be tracking towards $1. So this could actually make the breakdown of $1. Never mind. It's going to halt. It's $3.50. It doesn't matter. I can't take the trade because if it halts now, it's not going to reopen until the aftermarket. You don't want that smoke. Halting down at $1 is WNW, but the imbalances are about to drop here. So let's go. The balances are out. Nike is 1.5 million to the sell side, hoping it would come out of buy so we could short it on the flip. That's about it. Nike over 1 million shares and WBD over 1 million shares. Nothing else. Nike is the only imbalance over 1 million shares. That is wild. And that sell imbalance, and Nike pops on a sell imbalance. Logic.
Right. So that's, that was to Marty's point and to everybody. Did we get that? We get that super chat? I just want to bet. Here it is. Did we get this? I just wanted to let the best two-day traders operating on YouTube to know about WEME. So I think, good. Thank you for that one. Jackson McBride and Neil just talked about that. So there it is with the 33. I was just trying to watch out for Apple there, so I missed that. And good thing Neil covered it. So I did get the Larry Bird reference. All right. Apple now. Making that move in, right? So there comes Apple. We covered it. We put a stop at 233 and change. With that imbalance coming out right now, this is what we say, like, very hard to sometimes take positions against an imbalance. So let's have a quick look to see what Apple's doing. Nike, there is really no major imbalances today. I mean, Adara gives us those numbers. And rate today, yeah, pretty weak, as she just says there. 87 million to buy. I mean, that's crazy. Normally we're in the 870 million to buy. So yeah, not much happening right now in the broader market, but Nike WBD, which was a great trade. No, that was WBA, sorry. Walgreens has been a good trade as of late. Google, I guess, the biggest name. Ooh, back above $1.90 right now. That's nice for Google. So we are worried about it staying underneath it. It looks like that'll be it. Today, we won't get an opportunity for a reverse trade in this, Marty, because we don't have anything that is overly dramatic. It needs to be a dramatic push or pull one way or the other. And then once we see that, we take the opposite way when it runs dry on that. So we could watch it out for some of these names, but to me, QuantumScape's only a $5 name now. It might be Google, might be the one. I mean, you do get a little bit of an active move there. So if we're going to short Google, we want to get it close to this level, 191, short it, and then watch out for this to pull and flip over to a sell near the end of the day. But I'm not overly convinced that these are great trades here today. We'll just continue to watch out for our Apple, then maybe just get out of this one as it continues to go higher. We've taken it almost all out. I might just take it all out right here. There it is. Now we're out. We just took a 22 bid. We're out of Apple, man, to wrap up the day. A good one here. No LFT today as we get out the only trades we took this afternoon were winners. So Apple right there, nice trade to get out of it. And then we'll wait here to see what happens into the close. No major earnings, though. I saw today a Derek.
Well, we get the bank starting tomorrow.
Right, yeah. So tomorrow
JP Morgan tomorrow, we're going to be able to get. That's where it gets really, really exciting.
We'll watch out for that.
Hey, well, the other thing is, you're saying we'll get Chris back. Chris Bretcher.
Yeah, Chris Bretcher, he had some ideas. He messaged Neil and I.
Yeah.
And so I said,
and especially with earnings coming back in.
Yeah, I was like, come through. He had some ideas on some plays and whatnot. I believe it was since the election, he had some ideas. So we want to bring him back on. So those of you interested in what Chris has to say, he'll be back on.
Yes.
What did they say? Tuesday, Thursday with me. And then who do you guys have on Wednesdays? Nobody, is it? Wednesday. Brought Chris for Wednesday if we want to have him on tomorrow. What?
No, we don't.
No,
we don't have anyone.
Okay, well, anyways, he'll be on there for Thursday.
Friday is Andrew. Usually. I had to double check, make sure he's going to be on.
Okay, well, anyways, either way, that's what we're doing around here. So JP Morgan, yeah, I think the banks are going to be huge. Any thoughts on bank earnings maybe? Have you looked at the chart?
Well, look, I like the financials when we did our half day. It wasn't a half day. It was a holiday trade. I mean, I liked the XLF as a bit of a play. I think deal making is going to be big this year. I think obviously trading and volatility is going to be big. Some of the charts look pretty solid, and they've been giving you recent pullbacks. Obviously, JP Morgan is going to be a big holding in that, so it is what it is. JP's been best of the best. My one concern with JP Morgan is it hasn't had the same type of volatility recently.
Right.
Like I kind of feel like it's weird to say, like I think there's going to be better names percentage-wise other than JP Morgan. I think the regionals will probably have great volatility for you in there. Maybe something along like BAC is going to be a better trading opportunity than JP Morgan. I just don't know if it's going to be exciting enough.
I have no idea.
JP is boringly good.
That's a good way of putting it.
That's the problem with JP Morgan as a stock. It's not always the best trading vehicle because it's just boring at times.
So I liked what you said there. I think Morgan and Goldman there with deal making. I think that if you're going to play anything, into this new regime there, what we've heard is that it's all aboard on maybe some more. I mean, again, IPOs is one thing, but all aboard on M&A. So if we can get some of that, then the fees that these guys collect are quite nice on those kind of deals.
I haven't been excited about an IPO in a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have. We're going to hope for SpaceX, I guess, and. Stripe was one, and then the other ones that we liked was
Discord.
I think Discord's a big one.
That'll be a big one. At 355, Nike flipped to a buy. The problem with that trade is it was already going up. Like it was a sell imbalance that flipped to a buy, which does not set up the mean revert. The whole idea of trying to short it here would be that it's a buy imbalance that would flip or pair off. So the fact that it was a sell imbalance going into that resistance level flipping to a buy is an obvious no-fly zone because it flipped against what you would have been taking for the mean reversion trade. So Nike ends up a buy imbalance, but it was somebody used that sell imbalance as a means to acquire more shares. Right. That's the reason they put it out there. The reason imbalances get put out publicly is so that big institutions and big whales can take the other side without moving the stock. They don't want there to be volatility into the close, so they make it public, and it's the same reason why WNW didn't halt for 5 minutes. By halting it for more than 5 minutes, they're basically telling everybody, hey, there's no liquidity in this thing. More people come into the auction, so it doesn't drop as far. And then it didn't drop to 70 cents initially, so it just got more control on it. That's why they do it. This is not going to open until 4 o'clock, by the way. So WNW, it should open at 4. If you halt in the last 10 minutes, the reopen is the closing. Like the closing print will be the reopen print here on WNW. Maybe it is headed to 0, but it's got to break $1 first.
Yeah, so watch out for that stock tomorrow. You should, like Neil said, you should be able to get that. I don't know. That generally speaking, that's how it works. Coinbase here, just seeing a nice little, pretty steady. So that Google trade, Marty, I was looking at it there. Look, so you would have been short. It would have been a nothing. Nothing happening there on the 355 flip. So for me, CCTL. Here's Coinbase. Okay, so a nice little rally at least there to end of the day off that bottom. Oh, did Tesla do that thing? Neither one of us. No, okay, I was gonna say, well, it started, but then it gets hit there to the downside. That's not the move that we're looking for. The move yesterday that's not it either, right here, starting to the upside, then finally scaling out in the after hours. But yeah, right there, nice move there on Tesla downside right now as we sort of, we always say don't count your chickens before they hatch. The market is not closed yet with only 2.5 minutes left. We'll wait to see if we get any sort of love back in on these names or not, but I'm flat. My last trade was Apple and we're out of it. So Apple right now, just doing its own thing. Now trying to get back up to the upside. You see sort of the up and down movements here into the close. So that's what Apple does. And that's what these imbalances do. And that's why it's very, very dangerous to trade imbalances with serious size into the close. But, for I'll just say, for how I've been trading it, I don't put on very much risk. Like, if we'll put on 100 shares, that'd be great. Like, I'm trying to make like 50 cents, like put that $50 in your pocket or something, not trying to go too crazy with that one. With only 2 minutes left, the market's kind of doing its own thing. So, all right, I'm going to get up, go over to the desk. Good trading today. I thought we had some really, here, Neil, what's up? I thought we had some really good talks there today. Keep up with the questions, man. I mean, we're going to try to answer everything the best that we can. Did it open?
No, it's going to open. Look, I'm going to be watching a WNW out of morbid curiosity at the open. I'm not taking any positions after 4 o'clock, especially on a stock like that. If the liquidity looks like that on WNW now, what do you think it's going to be in the aftermarket? Like non-existent. Nike continues to run higher. So that flip does end up working. So Kyle, I mean, if you're in the money on the short on Nike, I guess the old flat bottom break is going to have to wait at least until tomorrow. So that's 69.57 on Nike. I'll probably slap that onto the old iPad tomorrow morning I'm not calling it a bearish market, but in a market that's been gliding to the downside, a trending stock breaking a major level or at a major level has got to be on our watch. So with only about 40 seconds to go, like I said, just morbid curiosity. I want to see what happens to this WNW. It's obviously going to be short sell restricted tomorrow down more than 10%. And if it's going to do volume, this could be a small capper to watch for sure. We have APLD. That's the earnings. Daryl walked by, and then I saw in the chat, Jimmy, she'd mentioned several times, APLD, they report their earnings. So that is one to watch. They were a big time runner. I think they got from like 9 to like 10.5 and right back into 9. But let's get the camera on Adara, who's in green today, despite the fact the markets couldn't do it. And let's ring that bell in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it, Adara. And it opens at 94. This WNW is now officially a penny stock. Man, there is not a lot of liquidity on this thing. I personally would not be trying to catch a bid. Like it actually just held that dollar level, but it didn't have to chew through anything to get through $1 and then right back underneath. Like there is nothing on the bid of this stock. I mean, there's nothing on, there's no buyers in here at all. It's now 79 cents. Like if you were taking that false break, this is why I say be careful. The liquidity is non-existent relative to what it was even doing on the way down here. So just be a little bit careful. Some of the names were able to catch bids at the end of the day. I'll quickly tell you, Tesla did not. NVIDIA did a pretty decent job. Just looking at, we like it when the market bounces. NVIDIA almost able to get into VWAP. The NASDAQ was able to bounce to get flat. So the NASDAQ's actually flat on the day. So you got to be able to file things away. The ES is actually up today. You saw JP Morgan close at those highs. So there was some relative strength, certainly in the market. I like those financials. Thank you very much to Fabian up there on the 1s and 2s, doing a fantastic job. Hopefully Ramin will be back with us. And shout out to Andre. We're shooting some videos for socials that I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun with that we alluded to. Big shout out to Obi for filling in for Sharif for part of the midday. Sharif was back to join Joey Options, our Jamaican friend. I love some of that chat about the West Indies on the midday show. And of course, shout out to Brendan, who's going to be back in just a little bit. But you know where you guys are headed. It is the Market Recap Show, and it starts right about now with Adara and Sean. Go get them.
Okay, welcome everybody to the after show. We do have Brian Shannon coming through today. It should be a big one and a fun one. So we welcome Brian coming through right now. I'm just getting everything all locked and loaded. But okay, here we go. So we still have Rigetti up here. I want to see what was going on with Rigetti here in the after hours. So just quick look over there. We're going to load up our trade ideas as well. So RGTI, we don't have any major trades today, or earnings. Oh, we do have APLD.
That's like the only one that we have on watch there. It's supposed to come out at 4:05.
Okay, great. So we'll have a quick look at that as well as discover, what's been moving, what hasn't been moving today as well. Let's go over some big winners. Hold on a second, guys. I'm just trying to get this all locked and loaded. I mean, I was in so many trades. I wanted to watch out for that Apple at the end of the day. I should have come up here a little bit early, but here it is right now. Wow. We had this on the watch list today, Adair. You had FXI in China, ADR. So they continue to make a nice move there today. FXI. Not much happening. Get rid of that. Not much happening intraday, but again, a nice little bump up there on FXI. Oh gosh. All right, so I got it. Normally there's a little thing up here we can flip back and forth between day charts and whatnot, but this is definitely not what we had in mind here for you guys so far there today. So let's go to FXI and just call up a daily chart. Oh boy, it's gonna be one of these days on the show. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll settle down right now and get back into this. So there's a daily chart. Let's just look at some daily charts right now. So again, on some Chinese concerns maybe in the last little while there with what's going to happen with the new regime there on this side, what's going to happen with tariffs. Today, FXI gets that bounce off the 200-period moving average. I like that for a play there on FXI. We'll see if it can get going. Utilities finally getting going as well. As some of these dividend-paying names have really been pushed to the side, we've seen names like Caterpillar and John Deere get to that downside. I did reach out to Ms. Danielle Shea March.
Nice.
She's coming back, so we're really excited for that one as well. And I always talk about that because I remember Deere, DE, was a big holding of hers and one that we always talked about and that we liked as well. I think the problem is with this chart right here, we don't have the prices. So I'm just going to get this all figured out. Adara, anything on your mind? I'm actually going to log in and out of trade ideas.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we, of course, are always very busy here in TTV Research. We just posted a new graphic here. If you're wondering, hey, you know, we talked a lot last Thursday in our holiday session about what were some of these winners and losers on the market. Well, here are some of the year-to-date winners. And what's really interesting here for 2025, Walgreen Boots Alliance, which is actually one of the worst performers on the year last year, is the best performer on the SPY so far this year, up 30%. VST and TPL, they were both actually on the winner's side. They also look like they're set to win again here. Micron and CVS both kind of beaten up a little bit near the end of last year. They're up on the year as well. So really interesting list. I'm also working here on a NASDAQ one here, winners and losers in the NASDAQ, as well as a losers one here for the S&P 500. But Palantir's underperformance so far this year is certainly of note. And you're going to see that as of right now, I think, on both of those charts there for the losers, for the NASDAQ and the SPY. So check out TTV Research if you want cool market content. Yeah, good one. Not too many red things. I mean, we had mentioned today about you wearing all green. If you look at the board, it was a pretty green board overall. But look at this NASDAQ move right at the end of the day. I mean, that turned green. Yep. We also got APLD earnings. There we go. We have APLD earnings. Okay, let's go over there and quickly have a quick look to see what's going on. This is going to be APLD. What APLD? Applied. Yeah, we got it here. Applied Digital. Nice move up on the 3 minute there. We'll switch this over into a 1 minute to have a quick look to see what's going on. There's APLD with a nice move back now to the upside. I don't have any of the earnings in my ear right now, but here it goes. Nice move on APLD. What are we looking at? So here, basically, they have revenue of $63.9 million. That is a 51% year-over-year increase, and it's also above their estimates of $63.65 million. So that would be a beat. Their net losses, though, larger than expected. $138.7 million net loss. Apparently, that was impacted here by an $87.2 million for loss from change. Either way, though, it's still above estimates on the adjusted basis. So adjusted earnings per share of 6 cents, beating an expected 15-cent per share loss. Sales, as we said here, $63.9 million, 51% year-over-year increase. APLD also benefited pre-market here from this deal they had with Macquarie. They invested $5 billion. The company's market cap as of this morning was just under $2 billion. So APLD, a ticker to watch. Yeah, definitely. Good little recap right there. 6 cents versus minus 15 right now. Let's just have a quick look at the daily chart. Look, you always want to try to break through that $10 level. Okay, looks like it doesn't want to right now, but that's going to be a good level for APLD. Really doing nothing, quite bar-coded right now. The big things that we're excited for, and I want to thank all 3,700 of you for staying with us right now. We have JP Morgan coming. We've got some big numbers coming tomorrow morning. Not right now. JP Morgan, we talked about this yesterday, up 1.38%. I really like the fact that we're holding some of these bottoms right there and the base of the 50-period moving average. If we zoom back out, Neil said, like, JP Morgan's a boring stock. He's right. It is a boring stock, but it's trending, right? Downside, downside, downside. We never got to the 200 period. If anything, we probably held the 50 back into there. Nice move back up. We'll hold the 50. We'll wait to see about earnings for that. Goldman Sachs has been a big trade as well. They're hovering underneath the 50-period moving average. So for me, the setup looks better for JP Morgan than it does for Goldman Sachs. So we'll wait to see there. And then the regional bank, WFC, coming through. And we should have them up on here. There it is, January 15th, pre-market. So we'll check those guys out again underneath as well. So the other name, Citigroup, I think is the one that's above, right? So Citigroup right now at those highs of $74. So we'll take a look tomorrow to see what happens. If you're in anything, maybe XLF. I mean, if you're not sure which one to pick, XLF had a great 2024 as banks, try to now figure out their net interest margins. They were going to get 3 or 4 cuts in 2025. Now we go 1 cut
it looks like in July is a maybe. I don't even know what the odds are for that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was most likely, so we'll wait to see if that does come in right now for that. What do you want to talk about?
Sorry, I really want to quickly mention APLD Benzinga had a typo. So I know I said 6 cents earnings per share. It was actually 6 cent loss per share for Applied Digital. It's still, though, above estimates of a 15-cent loss per share. Just wanted to correct that there. Benzinga coming through with that correction, 6 cent loss per share versus 15-cent loss per share expect.
Oh, great. I mean, that's why we're here, man, to give everybody all of this information. So great job there. Adara, we don't want to misreport something, but again, we have the data, so we're going to give it to you, and when it comes corrected there as well. So Eli Lilly came today and gave a little bit of a scare. There was some guidance. It actually started going early and then ended up fading down to 6%. This is what we talk about when we say it started to go early. We just sort of move over here. Let's go to a 3-minute chart. We'll get that a little bit better. So there it is, right off the open. And we had this, we talked about it. We didn't have it as a trade, but we had talked about that guidance. It was a 32% revenue guide as well. But then this happened and it came right back in, Adara. So if you have some of those numbers, we can talk about this as well. But right now, trying to find a base in and around 730 today, maybe that was something. We bounced off there. So what you're looking for when you see a stock like this is there's the bounce down. And I don't have volume up, but you can see these tails there. That's going to sort of give you that capitulation there as a bottom, right there around 954. And then you came in and you tested it again. So sometimes we get stuck like with deer in headlights and we just look at some of the names that we talked about. Like I only had 3 names today that I traded. Eli Lilly could have been another one down there at 730 with the end of the day up to 747.
Yeah, it was a hard trader. And I mean, I just put this in the chat too. Eli Lilly, you're supposed to expect slippage. The slippage on Eli Lilly, at one point I got slipped $2 on this. That's insane. Like even for Eli Lilly, that is madness, I tell you. Yeah. And honestly, I'm very lucky I didn't get shot down on this. Tesla saved my life, so shout out to Tesla. But either way, I'm trying to say, like, you can trade responsibly on names like Eli Lilly. I followed all my rules, and I still got pretty caught up on it because just of how it was moving today. And again, very antithetical for the stock. Even the 730 bounce was not really as clean as you might expect. So, but I want to say here too, for the numbers, they're not as bad as that move might make you think. So they were initially guiding here revenue for the fiscal 2024, 45.5 billion. Now they're guiding 45 billion. As Sean said, they're still expecting 32% year-over-year growth, but people do not care. Then for Q4 2024, initially I guess they have guided here roughly 13.5 billion. Again, 45% year-over-year growth, but analysts wanted just under 14 billion. So this guide is not bad by any means. It's just not as good as their previous guide or what the street was hoping for. So LLY taking quite the tumble to the downside. That's what happened to Lilly.
I'm laughing because we just got an email from our, she runs the lunch and she runs, I don't.
Did we get a new email?
Yeah, we got a new email here. Food services rep. She just watched a news segment about the norovirus, and last month when you weren't feeling that well and some of us weren't feeling well.
My mom thought it was that too.
As well, as soon as I was off that day and I heard that you weren't feeling that well, I think maybe even Fabian and some of the other ones as well, and we were all like, food poisoning. I wasn't like that, but that was the idea, and she's just putting out right now that that hasn't been the case, and it looked like everyone maybe had caught a little bit of that virus. I think it put you out for what, a day or two you weren't feeling?
Put me out for like a couple hours, but it was so, like, I mean, you guys will know if you saw me that day, I was a wreck. Like, I thought I would be able to stay till 11, and it was like 10:30, it means I go home. Like, it was pretty bad, but yeah, I mean, that was, even at the time, like, my mom sent me an article a couple weeks ago, that's probably what you guys got hit with, because I know Sharif had it. Everyone was
that was fine.
Out for like a day.
I actually wanted that virus so that I could lose about 10 pounds.
You don't want that virus. It's so violent. I've never been sick like that.
Swimming and all that. Yeah, I don't want that. I'm just joking.
You do not. Yeah.
And we do have a caterer for those of you that were asking.
Yes.
Sometimes I see you grab in the morning. You like to grab the sandwich from Tim Hortons, or?
Occasionally, I'll grab a Tim Hortons sandwich because I have very low spice tolerance or like meat tolerance too. Some of the stuffs in the meat like just does not respond well with me. So if I'm like deadly hungry, I will hop over to Tim's, I will get my sandwich, and I will hop back.
I like that. You know, it's Canadian. We're calling it Tim's. Okay, man, Mom's spaghetti. I mean, they don't serve that at Tim Hortons, but they do serve that in the quantum space. And today, bang, 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 bang. And we got some calculations here because it's 48% for Rigetti. QBTS moving today as well as the quantum names find a base and find a bottom. And we're going to have Brian Shannon hopefully on pretty soon. I'm going to ask him about some of these names in the quantum space. But look at Rigetti today, man. It really got going. I wound up paying for some shorts, but then left it alone. We didn't wind up going short. And unfortunately, we weren't able to find our way into the name. That's the one thing about the different styles that I'm trying to do right now. We're trying trying to like focus on individual names, but we should have been over here. We nailed Rigetti yesterday, short $8, covering at the end of the day at 6. But as you can see, it's a nice recovery moment there for Rigetti today. And people asking there, we are out. We got out about 8.7 or was it 870 or 770? 870 because it's at $9 right now. At the end of the day, we talked about that. We would put that market on close order in. So we went long, just a small amount. I'm not going to sit here and be like we're retiring or anything because we're not. But we bought some just because. And Neil talked about this. This is the thing that makes traders different from each other, right? Is when you see something, you can either take it or not. And I mean, this was a play there. We went long, 605 on Rigetti. It was a little bit dangerous, obviously, but it's where the 50-period moving average was. Our stop was going to be like 550, something like that. We saw this little wick bottom there, 584. Depends on if we were able to get it in the pre-market or not, but it does go back up to the upside. Some pain coming away from that Rigetti short yesterday, back into the name long today. RGTI, a nice one. I just playing that bounce off of the 50-period moving average. Remember, these names still not making any money. QBTS, another one. I mean, here's earnings per share, minus 7 cents, right? They get a bump as well, only 28%. I have no idea why RGTI is the one that's more aggressive today. But again, there's the 50-period moving average. The difference with this one is it actually broke well below it yesterday. 50-period moving average 450. Yesterday's closed 377. So that's why we picked Rigetti. IONQ is another big name in the quantum space. Look, underneath again, we don't choose this one. This is the thing. There has to be processes. And we'll have Brian on. We have Michael Noss on. You have me. That we do the sticky note. We do things like that. You have to have processes. And what I mean by that is like, if we're going to trade things bouncing off 50-period moving average, then it has to be above it or at least in and around it. Yesterday, IONQ's below it. They don't get above it. That is the trade. You got to wait for it to break above. It's better to be wrong, better to be right late than wrong early. I think that's, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes,
so
that's correct.
Yeah, what I mean by that is instead of trying to catch IONQ here on the bottom, and again, Brian talks about let a stock be in the penalty box, right? We all get penalties in life, especially if you're playing hockey. You can only be part of the game once you get out of that box. So right now, that penalty box for me, 50-period moving average, we need to see that go to the upside there. QTUM, what did the ETF look like? Nowhere near. This might be maybe one of the safer plays getting into that one. And then the other one is Oklo. That's a nuclear name. I know we're switching zones here, but look at that, right on the 50-period. So I like this one for potential bounce long as well. OKLO coming in for a play there. Could be something there. So people laughing in the chat. I have no idea about what. Hopefully I said something funny or you're not laughing at us, hopefully with us. Guess what happens tomorrow at 8:30? Adara. I have written down here CPI. Economic Daily. CPI comes out tomorrow. We had a big move up today. I mean, was it a big move? I mean, let's look at the Qs here today. I always look at the NASDAQ. You know what? Who trades NASDAQ anyways? Let's look at the SPY. We get a nice, we don't look at it enough. Nice bounce up there. And then again, I have my system up, so we're going to talk about this. I thought that this move up, we wanted to fade that move. As soon as I saw it starting to come back down a little bit, I'm thinking to myself, why, if it's a little cooler than expected, it's a better number for the market there on the PPI today. Although PPI is not going to be as important as CPI, inflation still, in look for the Fed, right? I mean, if you're not going to cut rates and you're going to go back on it, let's let the numbers tell us maybe potentially what the Fed's going to do. The Fed is data dependent. So, they're not just randomly making decisions. So there's the SPY there. And I bet you Brian's going to have something to say about this. So we shorted this today. Like, there it is, there it is, there it is. All of these tops right there, right? Why were you not breaking? Like, sometimes the market doesn't need to answer those questions. You just trade off of it. And if it breaks, and you get out. So enter Exhibit 1. And you're only going to see me do this. I'm the only guy that trades futures on the show. Here it is, right here. So we chose our weapon of choice today were the TQQs, all right? And if you're going to look at this, here's the trading we did today. So this is going to look a little more random than many of your ins and outs, but we all, as Neil keeps saying, have our own styles. Short. So there's that play. So we had talked about this. Now, it's going to be very, very hard to pick tops and bottoms. So the first short we had there. So again, once we saw that top, we talked about wanting to go short. We actually wrote in our sticky note before the PPI that we wanted the short. But there it comes, it blasts up, it gives us that level of $78. So we just start to leg into the trade. I mean, that crystal ball, I still haven't been able to find that. If I knew exactly the right prices, then I would have put it all on right up here, Dara. But it goes right back into that high. We load the boat, and then boom goes the dynamite. Over 300 handles to the downside. Get out at the bottom there, hold that last percent, cash it out. I have no idea how we picked that bottom. To me, I was just waiting for that to break. Once it did, we executed against that. Then it goes all the way back to the upside. Anyways, look at this. And again, I want to give a big shout out to Brian Shannon, again, for everything that he's taught me and for everything that we've learned together live on the show. This is VWAP. All right, you know what? If he's ready, let's bring him in because I have a live example. Are we ready for him? No, you did it too. We still got to do this, Fabian. We still got to do trader talk. You know, come on, man. We had this idea. Brian, looking sharp. How are you, my friend?
Don, I'm doing well. How are things there?
We've got a lot of energy here. As you can tell, it was a great day trading, and I just was talking all about VWAP. I don't have the anchor. I just have the traditional on here. But look what we did, and you've taught me something about trade around this area. It's not necessarily the be-all, end-all. So right into here, we had our VWAP trade as we were like, let's get shorter on the NASDAQ. So we tried it once, twice. Once it broke through VWAP, we waited a couple candles. Then we got that exercise move. We bounce off the VWAP, then go to the upside. And then that's when we tap out. Is it a losing trade? Yes, it is. But we trade around an indicator. And this one, of course, here's your book, Anchored VWAP. You've written many different articles about VWAP itself as well, and books. But there we go, Anchored VWAP or VWAP. We traded around it. We got out and able to avoid. Then this happens, though, Brian. We maybe should have got back in right there. But at the end of the day, it's about being smart, not necessarily about being right. Does that make any sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We want to do what's most likely, not what's probable, is
Right.
what I've been saying lately. And, you know, I was looking at the market as it got back above that VWAP, and I was thinking maybe we would pull back a little bit, but I didn't expect it to fall apart the way it did either. So I didn't participate in that short there at the end of the day either, Sean. But, you know, there was opportunity in both directions if you're a skilled trader. If you're not a skilled trader today, I think you would have found to be quite choppy. But, you know, the thing that I always talk about is we're still below a declining 5-day moving average. So to me, it means if you're going to trade to the long side, be sure that it's a day trade because you can't trust these rallies. And we're also below the anchor from the year-to-date high in the beginning of the year. That's the blue one. That's the year-to-date anchor. So, you know, we're still seeing some profit taking here, and we've got catalyst with earnings. We've got the PPI today, CPI tomorrow. It's a tricky environment.
Yeah, we nailed that Apple trade at the end of the day. So we did have a piece of the short near the end of the day. How relevant is it that you just said like year to date? We've only had, I think, 10 trading days or maybe even less than that so far this year. Is that something that we've sort of back tested anchors from, and I kind of know the answer to this, but anchors from the beginning of the year, do we sort of extend those throughout the whole year? And is that something that you're going to continue to look at, anchored VWAPs on various indexes or stocks from January 1st?
Always, yeah, Sean. I mean, I've found it to be useful from day one, right up till, you know, even in this case, not now, but if we look at this Q chart, that, you know, it was useful here late, in September of last year. For the S&P 500, we saw that, you know, that was the year-to-date anchor right in April, and then again in August of last. So that was last year's year-to-date anchor. So you know, right now you can see, look at the S&P. We saw resistance there, and then it was briefly supported. That supported turned back to resistance. So it's moving back and forth above and below it. That's where we have that battle right now, along, of course, with the anchor from the election as well being an important level right now.
Brian, can we talk a little bit about the TLT? We noted that you had a post about the TLT, post that measured move suggests a continued downward trend here on the Treasury. Of course, this is the 20-year Treasury bond. I mean, I have the chart up. I mean, just from a simple mind like me, this 200 period, what a great indicator maybe to get short, but this looks like it wants to continue downside there. So I just wanted to bring it up because we saw the tweet. And again, what a great follow you are at Alpha Trends. I suggest that every single person watching right now, head over there. We have over 3,000 watching. Get over there. Go give a follow to Brian. What are you thinking right now about the TLT and what kind of charts you got to show us?
We'll just use this daily chart. And if you recall, Sean, last year, we had the anchor off of, I don't know why I have it there. It should be at this peak. But the anchor off of this peak, somehow that moved, was the exact high of of last year. And that's exactly when we saw the Federal Reserve first cut interest rates, one day after it touched that. And since then, so we have this move down. This is what's considered to be an A to B move. This was your B to C. So what we do is we take the height of this and we subtract it from point B, and that indicates $82.60 or so as a downward measured move objective. So that's what I was pointing to and saying that, what I'd really like to see is that we actually undercut the low from 2023. Okay. That, if we're going to come as close as a couple pennies from it, we might as well undercut it. But, the thing is, I don't think we're going to go immediately down there, not on this leg. You have to look at it and say we've just dropped from 88 to 85. So maybe we see a little bit of a bounce in here, and then we start to see a couple of these types of moves. But eventually, I do think it's highly likely we undercut this low, and that might be the case where we just see the brief undercut, and then we start to turn higher from there because there's a lot of stops under there. A lot of uneducated short money says, wow, bonds are just done for the rest of my life. So that's where we often see the turns, is on a brief undercut of a low like that.
Thank you so much for being here with us, Brian. I know one name that you posted about a couple days ago and then posted about again today was Eli Lilly. We know that had that drop, and you kind of called that one as potentially a little bit toppy. Do you have any, I know you mentioned on X today that it was the right idea, wrong time. Do you have any levels or ideas on this one going forward after that drop today?
Yeah, Dara, it's to know and to not act is to not know. So, I look at this, and a lot of people look at the psychology and say, well, but they're selling so much of their, anti-fat drugs. But, it's not a new story. It's been up forever in the last 5-6 years based on that. And, stocks move in anticipation of the future. So perhaps they're starting to anticipate a slowdown. I think it's highly likely we come down to the anchor off of the 2023 low. That would bring us down to about 660 or so. Actually, let's just call it 666. And then, the thing was, I was looking to short on a move leg lower over here, but it didn't break down. And then it rallied, 5-6%. So I never got involved in it. Instead, today we saw the gap down and continuation. So to me, that's just part of the frustrating nature of shorting on a structural basis. Intraday, scalps like Sean and Neil are doing all day long. Those are, I think, a lot easier to control risk because the overnight movement is really difficult to account for. I mean, it was looking pretty bullish really yesterday on an intraday basis, and then it just got, knocked out. So seems likely that we do continue down, however, towards maybe that 650, 660 level.
You ever, Brian, great question, Derek, great answer. Brian, do you ever consider some more macro plays like that? You talked about it with the GLP-1s. Would you ever get away from a name, especially in this space? Because, what if tomorrow they announce a successful trial or something like that? Are these things that you ever consider, or you just straight look at the charts and, if the play's there, the play's there, and we make it for that reason? I don't know. I don't know how we could predict a successful or unsuccessful trial. Maybe I'm answering my own question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the fundamentals are of Eli Lilly in terms of what they have coming, but I just look at a stock that's below, the 100-day moving average, the 50-day moving average. They're all starting to decline. It just looks like a classic topping pattern that it's due for some serious profit taking, it seems.
So we've had some fun the last couple of days talking about some various names. So I'm going to ask you a very, very random question. What is your favorite form of pasta? So mine is like a penne. I like rigatoni as well. Is there a specific kind of pasta that you like? This is not, I'm not setting you up for anything. I'm just.
This wasn't a GTI, rigatoni.
Damn, this guy's good, man. Yeah, that's 100% right. I was gonna say mom spaghetti. We've got rigetti right there. I like a little beef bolognese with a rigatoni. Great call on that one. The reason why I wanted to ask you this, and I can't fool this guy, man. This guy's too good. He knew right away. This guy. Okay, Brian. I dropped an anchor. So if we come back over to the screen, I dropped an anchor right there on the breakout, which is kind of like back to November 22nd. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we could zoom in and find out maybe different levels. But at the end of the day, we were about $1.66, kind of starting to break out. We absolutely mooned up to $20. I mean, I know these type of style and this type of like uncertainty, not necessarily in all of our wheelhouse. But if we're going to lay an anchor, would this be something on such aggressive moves? You've done some great work for us in the past on a name like NewScale, which of course is SMR. But now that we're sort of in this frenzy that is quantum names, is there a name that you like? But let's deal with B first, which is going to be Rigetti. The anchor right now is at $10. That's also a psychological level for me. Any thoughts about what this is possibly setting up? I went long yesterday off the 50 period and able to take advantage of this today, just really small, and now I'm out. What are your thoughts here about RGTI? And then is there anything in the space that you like?
No, I think it's interesting, Sean, that the anchor you pointed out is kind of actually where we see the anchor from the election as well. So the purple one on the daily time frame is the one that you pointed out. And that's, like you said, that was kind of the ignition gap that got it going. So that's right in here. But I think we can see it probably continue up towards that 10 level, you said. And that's the anchor from the day it made its all-time high. That's that red one right there. So I think that's important because we also have that 5-day moving average there. And then the year-to-date anchor is up at 12.25. So if it's really to get stretched up in there, then I think, that's probably the place where it's going to continue down. But I can tie that in actually real quickly, if you don't mind, with Tesla.
Yeah.
Because Tesla has been just really nailing a couple of these moves, which is, on the daily time frame, I think we spoke last week. We have the anchor off of the election that's been holding his support. That's that orange one. And on the upside, we have the anchor from the all-time high that was hit last week. And then again right here and backed off it absolutely perfectly. So, it's kind of the same psychology. The anchor from the all-time high in Tesla, that's what might cause sellers to kind of say, wait a minute, let's start getting more aggressive here in rigatoni.
That's funny. Yeah, people in the chat like that kind of talk there. And a great look on Tesla, and you did bring that up to us. I think there's a lot there from that post-election bump to see where we go on many of these names. Okay, we're at 4:30, and honestly, I hate to do this to you, but is there one more anything maybe? And I want everyone to go over to Alpha Trends, make sure they follow you. You do have a subscriber part as well where you're giving ideas and giving great information, breaking down charts. Is there anything right now that maybe you want to give us a little tidbit on maybe what subscribers might see, might hear from you on a daily or weekly basis? Any ideas moving forward?
Yeah, great, Sean. I mean, realistic. People who follow me on Twitter, you know that I do a Friday video where I kind of go through the markets in pretty good detail and say, here's what I expect for the week ahead. Well, every single day I do that same thing for Twitter subscribers. It's $10 a month. I do a midday video and then I do some extra posts. You might actually, I'm trying to find the balance because I haven't been posting as much free stuff on Twitter. I've been saving it for the Twitter premium. So it's a great value, $10 a month, really.
Yeah, great. Go over there. Go check out Brian for sure. And hey, man, that's what it's all about. I think it is. The fact that you're doing those videos every single day. And remember, the thing about trading is, and I think me and you agree to this, we have to be risk managers. Right? I mean, me and you could throw out as many ideas as possible. You have to have stop orders in. If you don't have that, then yeah, I think you're missing out on something. This is the big book that's changed a lot of people around here for sure. It's Maximum Trading Gains with Anchored VWAP. So make sure you go check that out with Brian on Amazon. You can go over to the website as well, alphatrends.net, is it, I believe?
Yep.
There it is right there. So Brian, thank you so much. Maybe next time we'll take a couple of questions from the audience. How does that sound?
Perfect. Love it. Great.
All right, it's Brian. Thank you so much. 3,000 people want to thank you as well. It's Brian Shannon. Go check him out. Thank you, Brian. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks to them as well. Thanks, everybody.
Ciao. That's Trader Talk. All right, look, man, we strive to have the best on our show. And Brian just sort of, highlights that. Well, I didn't realize, how do you type so much with those nails like that?
I mean, I'm used to it.
Oh, you're used to it. Okay.
I'm pretty used to it, and I also write. You know what I mean? Like that's like as well. So I'm typing constantly. I'm always like.
I just have random things all the time. I think very much like you. We think about things and we just.
Fabian's question is also even better. How do I trade with these nails? Fabian, I don't even know.
I don't think you could trade like me because in and out, like you keystroke
I do some
errors.
scalping. Yes, I've had some keystroke errors, but I find like even today I was scalping Tesla with these nails and it worked pretty okay. But that's because I just had like the stops. As long as I had the stops, and I was like, cool.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you got to do that. There we go. Michelle Muir. We all love Brian, and I say Michelle Muir because time for roll call.
It is.
All right, so it's 4:30. I want to thank everybody for staying late with us. We always talk about this, traders stay late, and you guys have done that here today. We have the indexes on the side. We have breaking news. Not only have you found the best recap show, period, with the best guest, the best co-host, but we also have earnings coming, and they're starting right now. So we had APLD today. Starting tomorrow morning, we'll have, and again, 8:30, we'll have everything.
Also, we really quickly have two catalysts I want to talk about because they're both moving.
Right?
Intel. Okay. Also, Intel here announcing apparently they're spinning off Intel Capital, which I didn't even know what that was. But they're spinning it off as a standalone investment fund.
All right.
It's actually getting a little bit of a pop with volume on this. So Intel's investment fund, could be on watch tomorrow. Boeing, though, also on watch here.
Okay.
BA, and this catalyst with BA is basically Sean Duffy, who is Trump's transport nominee, apparently has some written testimony to the Senate panel, because we know they're doing the whole swearing-in process right now, in which he said that he vows to restore global confidence in Boeing. So I don't know how Sean Duffy plans on doing that, but Boeing investors like the idea that someone will be restoring confidence in their very downtrodden company.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is keep those planes in the air. I think that would be the first thing.
Great start.
But again, I think a lot of that, I don't know. I don't want to say it because there's been lives lost. I mean, the thing is there's thousands and thousands of these flights taking off every day. It's like when Sharif shows the one video of the Waymo driver. They literally have 1 million rides, and the one guy is caught in a loop. I mean,
those are always the ones that get attention. The outliers.
And that's cool, right? You got to highlight these things. That is some of the problem with AI, and Boeing going to figure it out as well. I like Boeing down there at the 200 period. All right, we've said it. Let's do it. All right, Bob S., man, thank you so much for everything. You've been here for a while. Bears versus Bulls the best. He's here every single day. Celery 2, 3, 4. I mean, however many pieces of celery you could have is great. I used to have celery with peanut butter.
Really?
Put that on there. And you know what else is another little life hack? Not good now, that I realize not very healthy for you. Cheese Whiz.
I've heard of that. I've never had it.
You guys in the chat done that? Cheese Whiz with celery?
I don't even think I've had Cheese Whiz in my life. I just
told you we get off track. This is why, man, we need to have I need to have a podcast again.
We need like a buffer between us because we both are very like tangential, and we need someone who's like not tangential here to like.
Or we don't. All right, Daryl, what's up, Daryl? See you tomorrow for sure. Navjot, see you. You want to check out Snowflake? Look, I mean, we'll do some more stuff tomorrow. Yeah. We're just saying what's up to you. We will check Snowflake. I like Snowflake. I've always called it the baby Palantir. We'll figure that out very, very soon. Ozan, what's up tomorrow? Oh my God, we will be rich tomorrow. I don't know why, but shout out to you, Ozan. Anybody catching your eye?
Yeah, I mean, we've got Darwin in the chat here saying that your celery concoction sounds gross, but he'd try it. We also have Bears versus Bulls. As always, thank you to every single thing you do. Shout out to Christmas with Santa Man. Shout out to Henrik. Shout out to Easy Peasy, Marie L. We have Dollar Bill. I think that's a great note to end on. But thank you guys, all of you, for everything you contributed in the chat. Also, if you have any ideas for a potential TTV research graphic or content, just tag me in the chat. I'll try to see it when I can. Also, my Trader TV Adara X is currently not working because Elon has like content, whatever, stopped me. I don't know why.
What do you mean?
I don't even know. I just go on, it won't let me log in. My content has been flagged. So I'm trying to like appeal that right now. But in the meantime,
the graphics that you put up, maybe?
No, because I just post charts on my Trader TV Adara.
Okay.
So I don't know. Anyways, you cannot reach me there, but hopefully
I kind of want to get flagged. I'm kind of jealous.
Don't be. What? Hopefully at some point it will be amended and I can post it. I don't know why though. Anyways, not the point.
All right.
Shout out to everyone, and I will hopefully be back on X soon.
All right. Look, on this show, when it's Adara and I, we have a favorite vegetable. And what is it?
It's a potato.
Because you can turn into?
French fry.
All right. Talk to you guys tomorrow. That's Adara. I'm Sean. Don't follow us on X, apparently, or at least try to, maybe.
Try to. Soon, hopefully.
At Trader TV Adara, at Trader TV Sean. We will see everybody tomorrow at 8:30. It's bank season, baby. Sleep well.
See ya.